What's going on, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? I decided to go live for a little bit today since I had a little free time. So I am here to have some kind of dialogue. I don't know what I want to talk about, but I'm just here. Wherever it goes, it goes. There's a lot of things I can talk about, but I'm not sure, you know, exactly what I'm gonna do here. But what's up, Super? What's up, Tehran? How y'all doing, man? Tehran, it's been a long time since I've seen you around. Wow, so froze here. So what's going on, Super? Oh, super, super, super. Don't start, super. Don't start with me now. Don't start with me. You know, I don't know why people have to put out conspiracy theories about everything. Why can't something that's happened just be an accident or somebody just messed up? You know, I've been hearing all kind of crazy stuff about this bridge. Matter of fact, DEI. you know, and it's like sometimes we have to stop the nonsense. It just it's stupid nonsense the way we make things up. And it's for what? What is the purpose of saying that, you know, somebody DEI caused it, or it was a terrorist attack, or some stupid, I don't it was an accident. It was an accident. You know, Stuff happens, you know. It was one of those freak accidents, and the only ones that really know what happened is the captain of that boat, you know. And this is why I can't really take certain people seriously anymore, because we just go out there and we just say stupid things. We just say stupid things. And also, Super, you're gonna like this right here, Super. You're gonna like this one right here. What's up, Brian A? You're gonna like this one, Super. So the latest thing that happened today is that Trump posted a video of a truck that had Biden on the back of it tied up. And everybody's outraged about that. A lot of people are outraged. But you know what? I don't know why they're outraged. Because it happened a few years ago with Kathy Griffin when she put up a decapitated head of Trump, image of Trump. So it's just politics now from both sides. We need to stop being outraged over every little thing. It doesn't make sense. If the right does it, the left get outraged. If the left does it, the right get outraged. And it's like a cycle over and over and over and over again. Everybody getting upset. But people like myself and people like the people in this chat, y'all need to understand we're nothing but pawns in this game. We're nothing but pawns. Our only job is to support whatever BS they put out there. That's our job. And it's crazy. Right, Super. It's about who can talk the most crap. Who can get better yet is who can get people to believe the most crap. That's what it's all about. You know. Well, I disagree with that, Brian. I really do, because I think you can control what you react to. Because I control what I react to. Like, for instance, like I was telling y'all just a second ago about this video being posted about Biden being on the back of a truck tied up. That doesn't bother me. I'm not upset about that because it's part of politics now. And I'm numb to all that craziness. It just a lot of craziness going on. So if you really take yourself out of that craziness and just look at it from an intelligent point of view, you can control your emotions. You really can. I was watching CNN, and when they were showing that video of Biden tied up on the back of a truck, I just laughed at it. Because a few years ago, Kathy Griffin had a decapitated head of Trump, and everybody was outraged on the right. Now, today, everybody's outraged on the left about what Biden, so it's just crazy. And I think a lot of people need to realize that you need to take yourself out of that environment and just think intelligently, and you can solve a lot of these problems. But people don't do that, though. People get caught up in all this political BS, and they start doing crazy things. It's like people who go out of their way and go to jail for a politician. Who want to go to jail for a politician? I would never, ever put myself out there like that. Never. That is just crazy. What's up, Kanyan? It's crazy. Why must we be so emotionally involved in this crap? If you have a political stance, stick with that stance. But listen to other people, but don't get caught up in this crap to the point you ready to go to jail for it. Ain't no way in the hell I'm going to jail for any of these people. I don't care who it is, a Democrat, Republican, Independent. I don't care who you are. I'm not going to put myself in jeopardy going to jail for nobody. But in today's society, we got a lot of Looney Tunes out there who's willing to go to jail for these politicians. And that's crazy. So what's your thought on voters taking the couch position this November? You know what? Honestly, the ones that are taking the couch position this November, they're idiots. They're idiots. They're idiots. My thing is, how can you have a say-so in anything that goes on in this country if you don't want to participate in the process? And also, like I said, if you have an agenda and you have certain things that you want to get done, no matter what you say, if you don't vote, there's no chance of it getting done. It's like, for instance, even though I don't agree with these idiots, reparations. I hear so many Black people talk about reparations, how they want reparations. They want reparations. But the problem is, a lot of these people who talk about reparations, they don't know how the process works. They really don't. They think Joe Biden or Donald Trump or whoever president can just wave a wand and give them reparations. But it don't work that way. It doesn't work that way at all. If you want reparations, you vote for the people who's willing to give you reparations. But by saying that I'm not going to vote unless I get reparations, that's stupid. Because in that case, you have no chance of getting reparations. And another thing also, I hate single issue voters. I hate people who want to vote just for one thing. One thing and one thing only. That's stupid. I always use the same example. When I vote for my future. I vote for my health care. I vote for my Social Security. I vote for education programs for my grandkids and my kids. I vote for things that matters to me, not just one issue. Oh, they're not going to give me reparations, so I'm not going to vote. I don't care about Social Security. I don't care about health care. I don't care about nothing else. Only thing I care about is reparations. If I can't get reparations, I don't want nothing. That's so stupid. That is so stupid. I hate people like that. And honestly, we as Black people are the worst. We are the worst. Because we want everything right now. If we can't get it right now, we're not going to participate. Stupid. What was that one issue? What was the one issue, Kanyan? Yeah, Phil Scott is an idiot. Phil Scott, honestly, I'm gonna tell you why Phil Scott. Phil Scott is an undercover Republican. I don't think people came out. I don't think black people turned out in 2012 for gay marriage. I disagree with that, Kanye. I don't think black people turned out in 2012 for gay marriage. I don't see that happening. But Phil Scott is an undercover Republican. Guaranteed. He's an undercover Republican. And that's why he just, Phil Scott is a, if you notice people like Phil Scott, they never debate anyone who have an opposite view of theirs. Never. You will never see them debate anyone. Only thing Phil Scott going to do is sit on his platform and spew all that nonsense out of his mouth. You will never see him debating anyone with a different view than his. Guarantee it. Now, he might go play with Jesse Peterson, whatever his name is, but Jesse is crazy. If anybody take Jesse serious, they are dumb. No, Kanye, if you go back and look at the numbers about why Obama won because of black people. And I'm going to break it down for you. You realize in 2012, Mitt Romney got 65% of the white vote. The only thing saved Obama was a lot of black people turned out. And a lot of young people turned out. It was a lot of young people and black people that saved Obama that year. Because white people voted majority for Mitt Romney that year. So I don't know about that. You got to look at the numbers now. Go look at the numbers. Yeah, Jesse Lee is a clown. Jesse Lee is nothing but a clown. You can't take him serious. He get people on his show and he start talking all this nonsense. You know, you can't take the man serious. Anybody who goes on that show, they're stupid. They're stupid. Yeah, Kanye, go look at the numbers, man. I think like 65%, either somewhere between 62 and 65% of white people voted for Mitt Romney that year. Most definitely. Hey, Super, let me ask you another question. So I was going to do a video, but I'm going to just skip the video and just forget it. I'm just going to talk about it now. Clarence Thomas. You know Clarence Thomas, before he became a Supreme Court justice, had made a comment. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find a comment. Because I was going to do a video on it, but then I changed my mind. Let me see, can I find it? And what phone did I use? I'm trying to figure what phone I was on. Hold on 1 second. All right, let me see. Let me see something. I was going to do this video. I was going to ask people who said this just to see what people's reaction was going to be. But listen to this right here for a second. But this is what your boy Clarence Thomas said at one point in time before he became a Supreme Court justice.
To get past, there is nothing you can do to get past black skin. I don't care how educated you are, how good you are at what you do, you'll never have the same contacts or opportunities. You'll never be seen as equal to whites.
See, Clarence Thomas said that. Clarence Thomas, the guy you love, said that you could never get past your skin color. You could never get past your skin color. And I want people to understand, there is a lot of people who said things in the past, but go on to do something different. Not only that, Super, Clarence Thomas just hired his adopted daughter to be a clerk, to clerk for him. He said that it was 4 years before he became a justice. So I think he said in 88. It was 88. But also, another thing was he just hired his adopted daughter as a Supreme Court clerk under him, the same girl who said she hated black people. And she got kicked out of Turning Point USA because she said they had came across some text messages where she said she hated black people, which is kind of crazy because she went to live with Clarence Thomas after that. So there's a lot of things going on around here that doesn't make sense. But a lot of people don't understand that politics is all about money. Well, I'm gonna agree and disagree with that, super. And the reason why I'm gonna disagree with that because when you talk about Clarence Thomas, you talking about a guy who benefited from affirmative action, a guy, what's up, T? A guy who made that comment about you'll never be able to escape your skin color. I think anything what Clarence Thomas became was a grifter. He found a way to make money off being on the court. So it's not so much he changed his views, he wanted more money. So he had to move all the way to the right in order to make money. And that's what he did. He did it for money, not because of his views, but because of the money why he changed. But right now, my biggest thing is nepotism. Everybody talking about DEI, but nobody want to talk about nepotism, which is crazy. And that's what Clarence Thomas is doing right now by hiring his so-called adopted daughter to clerk for him. That nepotism. But no, I don't want to talk about that though. That's no big deal. You can do nepotism all day, and no one has any concerns about that. Well, Roe versus Wade was going to fall anyway when they got enough Republicans, conservatives on the bench anyway. So that was a gimme. You can thank Mitch McConnell for that. Mitch McConnell is the reason why Roe versus Wade fell, not Donald Trump. I don't know why people get Donald Trump the credit. It was Mitch McConnell because he's the one who held up 2 seats. He held up 2 seats. The first one with Mary Garland with Obama. And then the second one was when what's her name died. They wasn't supposed to seat anybody in that seat. They were supposed to let Biden do it, but they did it anyway. So you can thank Mitch McConnell for that, not Donald Trump. When people get Donald Trump credit for that, I just laugh. Because it wasn't Donald Trump, it was Mitch McConnell. What's going on, T? Hey, I've been sitting back watching your boy, man. And the more I watch that dude, the more I see fakeness. It's just all fake. Nothing but fake. But he's sweeping down that he got the clout. For whatever reason. Hell no, Super. Are you serious? Super, why would you pose that question to me? Come on, man. Are you serious? Trump is not Super. Y'all need to understand something. Trump is not a conservative. Trump is not even a Republican. Trump is a populist. He's a populist. He's not a conservative. He's not even a Republican. He's a conservative. Our clout chasing, closeted line fraud. So true. So true. So true. I just, I just, actually this morning I was watching some replays, and I was going through his videos, his live streams, and I noticed, oh nah, 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 it don't drive me crazy. Nah, nah, nah. We were talking about that earlier before you came in. We were talking about how Brian A was mentioning how people get emotionally involved into politics, and I was telling people, some of the examples that you shouldn't be emotionally involved because this shit is crazy. It's crazy. What's up, Griff? What's going on, Griff? I appreciate you catching it, Griff. But yeah, I'm not vested emotionally like that. No, no, I can cut it off. I don't let things upset me to the point where I want to go out and commit a crime and go to jail for a politician like some of these idiots do. Nah, I was using the example of how people outraged today because somebody painted a picture of Joe Biden on the back of a truck tied up. And all of a sudden now that's a big deal. I'm like, why everybody making that into a big deal when that's part of politics today? That's part of politics. It kind of like I said, a few years back, Kathy Griffin showed a decapitated head of Donald Trump. Everybody was outraged, including Donald Trump. But today, people see a video of a picture of Joe Biden on the back of a truck tied up, and they go crazy. They lose their mind. It's like, why? That's just part of politics now. Y'all created these problems. Now you got to deal with them. There's a lot of crazy, crazy people out there. I would never get so invested into politics where I'm going to lose my mind. Never. Another thing also, there's too many grifters out there to get that invested into politics. Too many grifters. A lot of these politicians are nothing but grifters. They're going to tell you what you want to hear so they can stay in office and keep making money. And then when you talk about some of these black influencers who talks about politics, it's the same thing. They're going to tell you what you want to hear to keep you outraged and upset to get into your pocketbook. So no, I don't take none of these people serious. No. No, actually, on my other channel, I brought this out for a reason. On my other channel, that's a joke, but no. Kong, I must ask you, why did so many women, especially black women, celebrate Kevin Samuel's death? Can we agree that wicked? I'm trying to figure out how to answer that question, Super. I'm gonna say like this right here: to each his own. Some people, and the reason why I'm saying each his own because there's someone who I really dislike, and if that person passes away, I'm gonna celebrate myself. So, to each his own. I'll leave it at that because I don't want to be a hypocrite. I don't want to be a hypocrite. Well, that's true, Super. But at the same time, when you really got a lot of dislike in your heart for a person, you don't care. You don't care. That's how it is in today's society. You know, when someone does something to you or make you feel a certain way, your heart become cold. There's no emotions of love in that heart anymore for that person. So I get it. So I can't criticize them because I've been known to do it myself, you know. But I'm asking you a question because I came across something else also. I'm going to get on this homosexuality conversation for a second because I was reading last night and I came across something I didn't know. And I want to ask y'all something. Did y'all know that all embryos from the beginning are a woman or women? Women and woman is a woman. Everybody is born a woman. Did y'all know that? Because I didn't know it until I read something last night. And that made a lot of sense to me now. Well, it didn't make a lot of sense to me because when you go deeper, yeah, I discovered that last night that all embryos, when they are first conceived, are females. Now, what I thought about when I read that was, how was Adam conceived? Well, God conceived Adam, and then God made Eve from Adam. But if you think about science now, it should have been reversed. It should have been Eve, then Adam. Who's muted? Who's muted, Brian? Well, T, as I read further, me and like embryos have, all right, you take the clitoris, for instance. Testosterone, well, the Y chromosome is introduced. So when the Y chromosome is introduced, it takes the clitoris because of testosterone and turn the clitoris into a penis. So, and then when you look at the nipples don't form because of the Y chromosome. You know, so I thought it was fascinating, but it gets me to thinking when people say that you're not born homosexual, you're not born a homosexual. It kind of proves my point now that you are born a homosexual, you are born gay. Because when you start talking about the X and the Y chromosomes, there is something intertwined there, and something goes awry, and things get mixed up with the X and the Y chromosome. Now, this is my opinion. This is my opinion only. It's not something I read somewhere. This is my opinion just from reading what I read last night, knowing that now I know that all embryos are female until the Y chromosome comes into place and turns the clitoris into a penis and suppresses male nipples that don't turn into breasts, full-blown breasts. So I thought that was fascinating. Then I started looking into the fact of the Bible, Adam and Eve, and I'm like, hold on, how can that be? In the Bible, it says God created Eve from Adam, but actually, it should have been Adam being created from Eve. Like I said, that's my opinion now. I didn't read that anywhere. We going back to that again, Superman. I you know, Super with the abortion thing. eh, Honestly, Super, that's up to that couple. It's up to the couple. That's the only thing I can say about it. It's up to the couple. That's a good question, T. That's a good question. I would honestly, well, I would say mutation. I would say mutation of a female because they can't be an underdeveloped females can't be an underdeveloped male. If the chicken come first, where did it come from? Well, the thing about it is though, if you notice when they say that guys have feminine tendencies, now it makes sense. It makes sense now when they say guys have female tendencies. I can understand that better now, knowing what I know. So when I see certain guys acting a certain way, I can say, well, those guys wasn't fully developed into a man. They still got a lot of that estrogen in them. And that's the reason why they act the way they act. Think about that for a second now. Think about that for a second. When you look at a guy and you see a guy with so much femininity in them, but they say they're not gay, but they still got a lot of feminine ways in them, now you know why. Now you know why. Because they wasn't fully developed as a man. What's up, Mr. Docs? I'm telling you now. I figured it out. I just figured it out. They didn't have enough testosterone, so they had a lot of estrogen in them still. So there you go. There you go, T. There you go. You hit it right on the head right there. That's it right there. We all start as a female, and then the Y chromosome makes us males. So it's natural to have female tendencies in a sense. That's it. That is it. You know what, Super? Let me tell you something. I I grew up in a household. I had a male figure in my house, but me and that male figure didn't get along. Now, I would say this right here: you cannot make a male feminine by not having a by being raised by a female. And since you said that, now knowing what I know, that's the reason why a lot of guys are feminine. Not because they didn't have a male in the house, it's because of the origin of them, the original origin. So why get public shaming for having such a? You know what, Brian? The problem with that is a lot of people don't know this information. Like me, for instance, I didn't know it until I just read it. I didn't know it. A lot of people don't know this. A lot of people talk about things they don't realize there is a backstory to all of this. Science can tell you a lot about yourself. Are you feminine, Kong? I'm not feminine, but you know what? I'm gonna say this right here. I find myself doing some things that a female does. When I look at a female, she does. Like for instance, I might be in the mirror for 2 or 3 hours, trying to make sure I'm fully groomed right. To me, that's a female tendency, but that's what a female does. So you can pick out little small things that you might say is a female tendency. Matter of fact, look at your boy Kevin Samuels. Look at some of his demeanors. If you look at Kevin Samuels and you look at some of his demeanors, You can say he had some feminine traits. I don't know. Sometimes that's not normal. When I see a guy in the mirror for hours and hours and hours, to me, that's not normal. Homosexuality is natural then, but it's not the norm. Just like and autism happens, but it's not the norm. Yeah, that's true. Also, T. It's not the norm. It's natural, but a lot of people don't believe it's natural though. A lot of people believe that every gay person or every lesbian person or bisexual person has been touched at some point in time in their life, and that's not true. That's not true. And I think anybody who says that, they're ignorant, and they need to really do some research. They really do, because it's not just that simple as you being touched by someone when you was young, and that made you into a gay person or a lesbian person or a bisexual person. No, because my thing is, how can you tell me just because that person was molested as a child, it made them gay? It doesn't make sense. Yeah, super. But some of us look in the mirror, but then some of us look in the mirror for too long. I had an uncle. I had an uncle, and he would literally stand in the mirror for hours and hours and hours and hours, just looking at himself, looking at himself. And I'd be like, damn, man, come on. You're not a woman. See, that's what I'm saying, T. That's ignorant. Not only that, like I said, that's a prime example of what I'm saying about that X and Y chromosome. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't fully developed as a man. He still has some of that female tendency left in him from when he was an embryo. But that's a prime example of what I'm talking about, though. A prime example of what I'm talking about. Prime example. And we need to understand everything is not black and white. There are gray areas to everything. Everything got gray areas to it. So if anybody tell you this is black and white, no, it's not. It's not black and white. It's not you was touched as a child, so now you're gay or lesbian. No, it's not black and white like that. There's other factors going on in here. But people don't want to see that. People just want to listen to a dumbass talk about things they have no idea about. None whatsoever. None. You really have to do a lot of reading and research. If you really want to know about life, how things happen, it's about reading, it's about knowledge. Going out and learning new things. Not just sitting on YouTube and listening to these idiots, who spills all this nonsense and they don't have a clue what they're talking about. Don't have a clue. This is when he talks and makes videos throwing his face up in it won't be killed. Like I said, he wasn't fully developed as a man. He got some of that he had some of that estrogen left in him for when he was originally was an embryo. But see, when you see a masculine female, it's two things going on. Either they're taking steroids to be a bodybuilder, or you seeing that trait. They got some of that testosterone trait from the embryo, and they're manly. I'm telling y'all, that X and Y chromosome is the major factor in this. When you see a woman acting like a man, she got too much testosterone in her. And when you see a male acting like a female, he got too much estrogen in him. That's just the way it is. It's all about science. It's all about science. And people need to understand it's all about science. You know, and that's why I said stop listening to these idiots telling you the Bible this, the Bible that, the Bible this, Bible. Stop all that nonsense. Read science. But she's straight, right? Yeah, but she just got too much testosterone in her. But she's straight. That's all. Like I said, you got a lot of males who got a lot of feminine ways, and you got a lot of females who got male traits. It goes both ways. I work at, well, I ain't gonna say I want to work at. I almost told you I want to work at. But at my job, there is a female. She walks just like a dude. She walks just like a dude. But she got a body of a female, and she's feminine. So it's like, hey, it is what it is. You got your Heineken Super. Super, I quit drinking. I quit drinking. I just quit drinking. Thank you, T. Thank you. Thank you. A lot of people don't understand that, you know, when they talk about the Bible and they read these passages and it's like you question certain things and they can't answer those things, but they'll tell you that the Bible is 100% correct. When there is like hundreds of different interpretations of the Bible. How can you have so many interpretations of the Bible if your version of the Bible is correct? You got different religion, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Protestant, Southern Baptist, Methodist, Mormon. You got different types of religion that all believe different. So who's right, who's wrong? Oh yeah, Dr. Umar is nothing but a scam. He's nothing but a scam. Appreciate that, Super. Appreciate that. Umar is nothing but a scam. You know, if people don't know Umar is a scam by now, I feel sorry for them. They are very delusional. Very delusional. You all said they're right. And that's the funny thing about it. They all think they're right. They all think they're right. It's crazy. It's really crazy. It's really crazy. But thank you, T. Appreciate it. I just been sober for I'm going on my second week. I'm going on my second week without having a drink. So actually what brought that on was, like I said, at my age, and you see certain things that develop in you from the doctor, when you go get a checkup, you see certain things. It's like you try to change your lifestyle. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to eat better and stay away from all this crazy stuff. Because I want to live as long as I can. And I don't want to shorten my lifespan by keep doing all this crazy stuff like drinking, eating the wrong food. Matter of fact, I'm really dieting right now to the point where I'm fasting. I only ate 2 meals in the last 4 days. Because I'm trying to fast more now. Because I've been reading up on it also. Like I said, when you read, your mind open up and you start seeing all this stuff that you never thought about before. You know, you start learning about things, you start learning about your body and how things affect your body. So you just start, you know, doing things differently. You start moving differently. Who do you think will win the U.S. election we have in the U.K. this year also? I think Biden going to win. Biden is going to be reelected. Nah, you know what? I really rarely eat fried food anyway. Even when I was eating bad, I wasn't eating fried chicken that much. But Biden gonna win. I see Biden winning because no matter what people say about voting, it's gonna be a wash. When you talk about people not voting, it's gonna be a wash because there's a lot of people turned off on both sides. So basically, it's who gets out to vote more. And then from what I can tell, it's gonna be Biden. The Democrat voters are gonna come out more to vote, and that's what's gonna drive all this for Biden to win. Kennedy. Now, yeah, I don't believe in conspiracy theories. I really don't. I don't believe in conspiracy theories. But I'm gonna say this right here. I believe Kennedy is only running to put Trump back in office. But I don't think he's gonna pull enough votes to do it. That's my theory. Like I said, I really don't believe in conspiracy theories, but I believe that is what's happening with Kennedy. Because you can't take him serious, for one thing. You can't take him serious. So his only objective is to pull votes from Biden for Trump to win. That's it. That's his only motive for running. And like I said, that's my opinion. And that's my conspiracy theory for the day. Jesse Lee, Super, come on. Do you really believe anything Jesse Lee Peterson says? You don't believe anything. You don't believe what Jesse Lee Peterson said, do you? I know I don't. He's the last person I'm gonna listen to on any topic. You know what? Jesse Lee Peterson is so crazy that Fox stopped having him on. That's how crazy he is. Not everything. What you mean? What you mean by that, Super? Not everything. I think he's crazy with everything. Any man who says that racism doesn't exist and he had never experienced racism, a man of his age is saying that he have never ever experienced racism. How can he be right about anything? How can anybody even listen to him about anything? Oh, you don't agree with? So tell me, Super, what do you agree with Jesse? What do you agree with? Let me see where your mind's at. Things are so slow. Now, welfare reform. Now, it's all depends what you're talking about, because I most definitely believe that the system should be reformed. I think in the 90s, when Clinton reformed welfare, it was a great idea, but it didn't last. So I agree with that. Welfare reform need to be done. Abortion, I'm a pro-choice. You know, that's your decision. Illegal immigration, it all depends how you're talking about it. It all depends how you talk about it. I think it's a little both, T. I think it's a little both. I think it's character, and I think it's a little racism. You know, I can't say it was racism doesn't play a part in it, because there are systemic racism. It is systemic racism out there. So I can't deny that part. But when you come to character, yes, I most definitely agree with the character part. We need to do better. We need to put ourselves in a better position to make ourselves look better, because we don't do that. You know, I see it every day. I see it in my job every day. You know, and it's like we don't care about the way people look at us. We don't care about that bad behavior. We don't care about saying things and doing things that's just not appropriate. We don't care. You know, well, super no illegals. There are always going to be some illegals. There are always been illegal immigrants in this country. So that's not going to happen. Then the question has to be, when do we stop falling for the trap of systemic racism? Is it a trap? Is it a trap? I don't think it's a trap, T. I live in reality. And I go off what I see every day in my everyday life, at my job. And trust me, I see systemic racism at my job every day. It's not something that I'm imagining. It's not something that I'm making up. It's there. I see the way certain people are treated different than other people. And that's systemic racism. Now, I don't harp on it. You know, maybe 10, 15 years ago, I probably would have harped on it and got disgusted and been upset about it. But what I try to do now, I try to make myself better at what I do to overcome that systemic racism. Because sometimes you can develop yourself into this powerhouse where they can't deny you. You learn that, you get that knowledge, you get that ability, and you put it forth. And it's very hard for them to deny you, even though there's systemic racism there. And that's how you overcome it. We can't keep saying something that's digging holes for us to fall in, instead of walking around if we fall in it and complain that the hole was dug. Well, that's what I'm saying. 10 years ago, I would fill in that hole. But today, I don't fall in those holes anymore. What I do is, like you said, I walk around that hole by making myself better. And that way they can't deny me. So you got a great point. That's a great point there. I can't disagree with that. But see, when people fall into that trap, those are, and I'm going to use that word. I'm going to use this word. Those are victims. They want to be victims. They love being victims. And so this is where my conservative side come out at. We need to stop playing that role, that victim role. We need to stop looking at things from the half empty glass, start looking at things from the half full glass. And that's how you change things. You know, that's how you change things. But I would never, ever say that there is not systemic racism in this country. I would never, ever say that. Never. And I will tell anybody, if you want to improve your situation, work a little harder. Stop playing victim. Stop listening to certain people. See, that's the problem with America, with Black people. We tend to look for leaders who want to keep you upset, keep you outraged. They want to keep you upset. They want to make you feel like a victim at all times. And that's the problem. That's why you got the Umar Johnson, the Tariq Nasheeds, the Phil Scotts. You know, all these people, they all got one thing in common. They love keeping you outraged. They love keeping you feeling like a victim. They love it. And that's the problem. And this is coming from a guy who leans Democrat. So that tells you I'm not all about playing victim anymore. I used to play victim. I used to cry and say, I'm the victim, poor me, poor me, poor me, poor me, poor me. I used to do that. But I woke up and I learned you can't be a victim all your life. Do something to help yourself. Yes, everybody needs a little help to get on their feet. But once you get on your feet, take it and run. Do better for yourself. Can black people be racist? I'm gonna say like this right here, Super. Black people can be biased. We can be biased, which is different than racism. That's the problem with America. People seeing themselves as victim and blaming someone else for their failure. True, that's the problem. We need to stop that. We need to stop blaming other people for our ills. Like I said, when I look at systemic racism in this country, it's a very small percentage of what is affecting us. The majority of the things that are affecting us, we are doing it to ourselves. We are doing it. No one else. We are doing it. This is my thing. Look at the inner cities. The inner cities are overwhelmingly black. Black. Black mayors, black councilmen, black sheriffs, black police officers, black chiefs. Everything is pretty much black. Why are things not improving in the inner cities? Why education is not improving for black kids? We are running these things. And I know a lot of people say, well, you know, the white power structure is not giving us the money. Well, that's not true. You're getting the money. But what are you doing with the money? You know, I'm not sure if y'all follow this story or not. The mayor in Illinois, Dalton, Illinois, I believe, the ones that got 2 positions in the city, making all this money, and then she's splurging all this money. Why are we not questioning her behavior? I know some people are questioning. I've seen her on Roland Martin, but some people are questioning that. They're not questioning that behavior that she's showing. She's in a position where she can help improve black people's lives, but instead of doing that, what she's doing is being selfish and taking the money for herself. See, we don't look at stuff like that. That's where we are harming ourselves. We're not thinking about the people. We think about ourselves. And that's a black woman. A black woman. Because we as black people don't like personal responsibility. I can agree with that, Super, to a certain extent. I can. Because we don't take personal responsibility for our actions. So that is most definitely true. Most definitely true. I can accept that. Exactly. Hence, if black Americans get reparations, they wouldn't do anything with it to change that situation. I believe that. That's why I don't get in that reparation train, because it's a whole lot of BS. But anyway, my opinion about reparations is a hustle. It's nothing but a hustle. It's just a hustle. It's a hustle for people like Tariq Nasheed to make money off of. That's what it is. Because these same people who tells you that they want reparations, but they'll turn around and tell you not to vote. They'll tell you not to vote. So if you want reparations, what you really need to do is try to push to get someone in office who can give you reparations. Find yourself a candidate who's willing to vote for reparations, and then back that candidate. Put all your money behind that candidate to push the issue. Don't tell people not to vote. Go find a candidate who's going to give you reparations. That's what you should be doing. But no, reparation is a fraud. These people who use that is nothing but fraudulent. Tariq Nasheed is making money off telling people to go out and not vote because we want reparations. It's just a money gimmick, grifting at its best. Well, Super, you know, honestly, I believe in let everybody live the way they want to live. And that's what conservatives used to do back in the day, Super. They used to let everybody live the way they want to live. But now the conservative movement had changed. Now they want to tell you what you can do, what you can't do, and they want to dictate to you about how you should live your life. If Joe Biden want to make Easter a transgender day, that's fine with me, because it don't affect my life. See, this is my thing also. anything that doesn't affect my life, it doesn't affect my family's life, it doesn't affect my kids and anything, I can care less about it. It's not affecting me. When they talk about homosexuality and the gay community and the trans community and the lesbian community, I can care less. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me at all. So why should I care about something that doesn't affect me? If those people want to live the lives they live in, that's their lives. Let them live it. Let them live it. That's what America is about. America is about being free to choose and do what you want to do. That's what America is all about. When we talk about freedoms, that's one of the freedoms. If you want to be a gay, go be gay. If you want to be a lesbian, be a lesbian. If you want to be a trans, be a trans. It's all about being free to be whoever you want to be. And people need to understand that concept. Freedom. No one should be telling you how to live your life. If it's not affecting no one else, live your life the way you want to live it. That's what it's all about. Freedom. Right, T. Both sides does it. You know, both sides. Is abortion affecting me? No, abortion is not affecting me. No. Let me tell y'all something. I'm gonna tell y'all a personal story about abortion. One of my daughters was pregnant at one point in time. Now she was in her 20s when this happened. But her mother told her to have an abortion. And she really didn't want to have one, but her mother didn't feel comfortable having a baby at this point in time. In which I can agree because she wasn't ready for a child. Financially, or emotionally, or financially, she wasn't ready for a child. And she had an abortion. Was I upset about that? A little bit. But at the same time, that's not my decision. It wasn't my decision. My thing is, it's all about being free to make your own decision. It's all about being free. And that's what it's all about. It's all about being free. And I know some people say, "Oh, you killing an innocent baby or whatever." But that baby is part of that woman's body, or that fetus, rather. I'm sorry, that fetus is part of that woman's body. And that fetus is not all the way developed to the point where that fetus can make a decision. So that mother is responsible for that fetus. That mother is responsible for making all decisions about her body because that fetus is inside of her body. And that's something we all have to understand. That fetus or that embryo is part of her. She the one who got to carry that for 9 months. She the one who got to feed that through her system. And we need to understand that whole concept. That's her body. Her body is carrying that fetus. So that's her decision. Abortion is a touchy subject. I think it used as long as last resort of sexual irresponsible people at this point. I don't know, T. I think some people do use it as birth control, but I think a lot of people use it for health reasons, incest, rape. I think the ones that use it for birth control, they're wrong, and they are irresponsible. But there are needs for it. Because like I say, there are people out there who get raped. There are people out there who are like have health issues. You know, either them or the baby. or the fetus rather. I keep saying baby, but fetus. So it's a lot of it's a very complicated issue, like you said. It's very complicated. Well, I'm not sure exactly how it went down. Only thing I know, her mother got involved. I'm not sure about the rest of the details because I wasn't around. Be honest with you, so I really can't get too deep into the father side. But my thing is, and actually, it happened to me one time also, years ago, where this girl said she was pregnant, and I told her it's her decision. It's her decision. If she had the baby, I was gonna be there. If she didn't want to have the baby, that's her. And the only thing I said was I wasn't gonna put forth no finances toward it. I did say that. But if she wanted to go have it, that's on her. Jason yeah, that was a just Lee Peterson question. But yeah, like I said, I'm pro-choice. I'm one of these people who are pro-choice but anti-abortion. And what that mean is I wouldn't do it. I don't believe in it, but I can't tell a woman what to do with her body. So that's what I mean by being both. Nah, nah, Kanye. I don't think it was cold blooded because I don't think it was cold blooded, Kanye, because if I don't believe in it, I feel like I should have to pay for it. Now, if she believes in it and she wanna have it, that's fine. I have no problem with that. But I'm just not gonna put forth no finances for it. So I don't think that's cold blooded. I think it's being honest. I think it's being honest. I think it's being real, and I think you're doing something also where you're not trying to dictate to a person what they can do with their body. You know, I would never pay for an abortion. Never, never, ever. I would say if you want to have an abortion, that's fine, but I'm not paying for it. I'm not financing it. I know a girl who had, this is no lie now. This is no lie. She had like 5 abortions. Similar to what T was talking about, as in using as birth control. She get pregnant, she goes to the clinic. Birth control. So I can see where T coming from. Yeah, some people do use it as birth control, which is sad. And the reason why it's so sad because you out there having unprotected sex, and then during the time she was doing this, this is at the height of the AIDS epidemics. So it's like you out there laying around not protecting yourself, and that's sick. That's crazy. That's really crazy. It's just irresponsible as a person. But it goes back to the point where we was talking earlier about black people just not being responsible for their actions. They don't want to be responsible for their actions, so they take the easy way out. They either blame someone and become a victim, or they take steps, as in abortion, for birth control. They go lay down with a man, knowing that they can get pregnant, knowing they need some kind of protection, but they don't do it. So they get pregnant and then they go to the clinic. Irresponsible. That's crazy. But at the same time, we allow that to happen. So what can we say? But that's one reason why the inner cities are so bad, because we refuse to take responsibility for anything. For anything. We don't want to look at ourselves and say, you know what? We can do better. We need to stop putting this on white people and start looking at ourselves. That's what we need to do. The abortion stats, they're to me, any stat can be compromised. No matter what the stat is, it can be compromised. And I tell you one stat that's compromised that everybody look at: single mothers having babies. You know that you know why that stat is not true? Because if you're not married, they consider you single. You can have a boyfriend, y'all been together for years, but y'all not married. You don't have his last name or whatever. So when the baby is born, they consider her to be single. They don't take into accountability that she has a boyfriend. Yeah, I can drop the link. Yeah. They don't take into consideration that she has a boyfriend. There you go. Yeah. They don't take into consideration that she has a boyfriend. So they put her as a single mother. So, you know, that stat is not true. When you talk about 73% of black women, babies are born to single mothers, that's not true. It's the stat is crazy. You know, it's like we need to understand that a lot of things, if you don't dig into a lot of things, you're gonna believe everything you hear and see. You know, it kind of like if you dove into politics and you don't really study politics and goes back to the 15 the 50s and the 60s, you'll never know what's going on in the world today. Because like they said, Democrats was a party of the KKK. But this is a different time, different era. Things change. People change their voting habits. So those Democrats that was voting in the 50s and the 60s are the same Democrats that are voting Republicans today. But people don't want to acknowledge that. Only thing they want to get stuck on is, oh, them Democrats. Democrats is a part of KKK. But they don't look at reality. They don't look at the point where, if that's the case, why are Republicans fighting more to keep certain things from the past? Like, for instance, statues, keeping Confederate general names on army bases. What's going on, T?
I can't hear anything. Can you hear me? I can't hear anything.
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Let me leave and come back. I'll try it again.
All right. Well, she signs up as a single mother for single mother welfare and benefits, and Section 8 is that their choice. I, Super, when it comes to government assistance, I think everybody who needs it should use it. But can you hear me now, T?
This is weird. I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Hold on a second. Hold on 1 second. Let me try something. Hold on. Let me try something.
Huh.
I'm gonna try that. See what this right here work. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But yeah, super. Like I was saying, I think if you really need government assistance, you should use it, but it shouldn't be a lifelong thing. See, welfare was built for temporary use, not for permanent use. And I know a lot of people use it for permanent use, and it wasn't meant for that. All right, T, can you hear me now?
Trip. It's not connecting.
It's still not connecting?
Oh, yeah, there we go. Now I hear you.
You hear me now? Okay.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm in the car. That's probably why the car keeps trying to pick up the Bluetooth.
Oh, okay. So what's going on, T?
Oh, just chilling, man. Having an amazing day.
Hey, I'm gonna switch topics for a second, Super
All right.
because I want to ask T something right quick. So, what do you think about your boy Vic and your boy Mayor going over there all of a sudden sucking up to him now?
I mean, that's completely on them. I'm not mad at even one of them for, being cool with who they're cool with. I mean, people are gonna be cool with who they want to be cool with. So if they want to try to be cool with that dude, but you would think both of them would know by now that this is going to end badly because the dude can't be trusted.
Well, my thing was, and I understand it's YouTube, and I understand people are gonna do what they want to do. But my thing is, when you drag a person the way they was dragged, you would think that they would never have made that move the way they did. And that's one reason why that's one reason why I could never ever participate in anything he got going on, because he said something a couple months ago, and I'm like, this dude really is saying this right now? Because the incident that happened with Tommy when all that crazy stuff came up, he was actually telling,
which time? Because there was a lot of crazy stuff.
Well, that's when with the sub situation with the sub situation. So he a couple months ago, I was just listening to him, and he brought that up out of the blue. And I'm like, really? And that's one reason why I could never ever deal with that dude, because he's nothing but a liar to the point where he says things that he knows are not true, but he still put it out there.
I don't think he knows that it's not true though. I think he truly believes the stuff he says, which is why when people say he's a troll, I'm like, no, he's not a troll. He's just ignorant. He believes the stuff that he says. So he believes that stuff. Like he's not trying to lie. I think he just really believes the stupid shit that he says, and he thinks it's
no. Let me tell you what he said. This guy said that I actually interacted with kids.
Oh, he heard that from somebody else, and he doesn't. That's the point. He just regurgitates stuff he heard. He doesn't have any proof of that. He doesn't know what he's saying. He didn't do any research on his own. He just heard that from somebody else and he ran with it. He does that with everything, just like he did with Vic and the whole prostitution thing.
Yeah. And that's what kills me. That's why I'm like, y'all actually let this dude say these things about you, then y'all run right back over there to him. I'm like, I know Vic don't care anyway. So I know Vic don't care. He don't take none of this serious to that point anyway. Right. So I get that part. But it's just to the fact that this guy says things and people runs back over there to him. I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't have.
Yeah, I'll never talk to that dude again. But I can't fault anybody else who goes back over there. I mean, Diet pulled up to his house. Diet is back over there chilling with him. But
yeah, I seen that.
That's
too.
on them.
Yeah.
If that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. I can't fault them for it. But I'm just never going to be cool with that dude because he's not genuine. Like he's fake. So everything about him is fake. Like he claims like he'll go to people's pages and I was being respectful and I was trying to be nice. No, he's not trying to be nice. He's not trying to be respectful. It's all fake. It's an act to try to get up there and either promote himself or get people to believe that he's not the bad guy that he is, so that they come to his channel and, you know, get a membership and all that bullshit. So everything he does is calculated. It's none of it's real. All of it is meant to be. It's meant to paint pictures, bad pictures of everybody else, but paint himself in a good light, so that people come to him and go, "Oh well, he's cool. He's not a bad guy. No, he's fucked up. He doesn't want other people to see it. That's why he's busy talking about everybody else all the time. But don't look at me. Look at everybody else."
It's like the Nicky Polk situation where he claimed. I heard him the other day saying he was loyal. He was very loyal. And I'm saying to myself, I'm like, hold on, dude. You sit here, the lady who helped build your channel, who did all your doxing for you.
Fire. Flag of Philippines. +63 920 960 7204.
The person who built your channel, you dissed her.
Right.
For Fabi. You thought Fabi was going to help you build your channel, so you had no use for Nikki anymore. So you dumped her.
Right.
And it's like, dude, that loyal? Are you serious? Everybody's seen that, but you saying that you are loyal. Not only that,
right. He's the most disloyal person on this side of YouTube.
Right. And then Jackie, I'm like, Jackie was loyal to you, and look what you outed her medical record.
Right.
And I'm like, how can anyone sit over there and believe anything that comes out of that guy's mind? Anything.
Well, most of the people that are over there are new, as far as like when we were all over there. Like most of those people that were there back in like 2-3 years ago, they're all gone. Most of them are gone. Like the few that are still there, I don't know why they're still there, to be honest, because you would think they would saw through them by now. But
it's very easy to see through him too.
Yeah, he's like looking through a piece of glass. Like, dude, he will tell you what he's doing, and everything he says he's not doing, that's usually what he's doing, and everything he says other people are doing, that's what he's doing. So if he's telling you that somebody else is being lying, being manipulative, and trying to change narratives, that's all him. But then when he says that I'm loyal and I tell the truth, like all it's not true. Like anything he says he's doing, I'm telling the truth, I'm keeping it real. No, you're not. You're not doing any of that. You're just giving your opinion. And he can get on here and talk shit about everybody else, but the second somebody says something about him, then they're lying on me, they're changing the narrative, they're jealous of me, get off my dick, like all this bullshit. It's like, but you can give your opinion, but nobody can give their opinion to you. That's bullshit.
It kind of like the homosexual thing, the gay thing. You know, he despised homosexuals so much, but at the same time, VS is a prime example. He dogged her a few months ago about being bisexual. All of a sudden now, he's cool with her. He accepted that she's bisexual, all because he wants views.
Right.
I'm like, where did that work at?
It doesn't. And then he came on after he did that show. Like I don't know if you watched it. I just watched like the very beginning of it. He just kept bringing up other people's names in the beef sector. And then when the people started talking about that video, like they were taking pieces of it and talking about it, he was threatening to flag all of them and saying he would take their channel because they were playing his video. Like, dude, you brought all of those people up. None of those people were talking about him. They don't even think about him anymore. But he was bringing all those people up, just trying to stir some shit up and trying to kiss VS's ass. Although he'll say, I don't kiss ass. That's all he does is kiss ass. He kissed Five Babe's ass. He kissed what's her name's ass? Cynthia Rose. He kissed now he's kissing. He started off kissing VS's ass, then he went at her. Now he's back to kissing her ass again.
Yeah.
And everything he does is calculated and it's obvious.
Like King Roman. I'm not sure what happened, but I seen it this morning. I seen a part of that video where he was trying to flag down King Roman. I'm like, where did that come from? Because he was playing some of his video. But my thing was, what make you think you special where no one can play your videos? It's like, dude, this is YouTube. It's like when I cut YouTube on, I see NBC, I see ABC, I see all these different channels. They playing each other videos. They commentary.
Yeah, and he's too stupid to realize if somebody else is playing your video, they're gonna try to find out where that video came from, which means that brings people to your channel.
Right.
So he's too stupid to realize somebody playing your video is helping you. You're not helping them. And he's like, I don't owe you anything. Nobody said that he does owe them anything. He kept saying that over and over again, like he has something to give. He's talking about he's the clout. He's no clout. He's washed up in these YouTube streets. Nobody cares about that dude anymore. Like he's some clout. He's no clout.
I said this earlier. I went over there, I was looking at all his videos. Now, his videos average about 1,500 views. The 2 videos he did with VS, they're averaging 5,000 views. So who's the clout? Come on, dude. You said yourself.
He said in a video recently that about somebody else that they don't have any like validity on YouTube, and people only watch their videos to basically to critique the stupid shit that they say, and that's what they do with him. That his replay numbers aren't because people are watching it because they agree with them. They're watching it to see what stupid shit he's gonna say next.
Right. That's it.
And then he was kissing Hennywise's ass too, because he doesn't want Hennywise on his ass. Like he knows Hennywise will cut his videos up and make him look stupid. That's why he doesn't want anybody using his videos, because they will go over it and they'll let his words play, and then they get to talk about how stupid what he said was, and then it makes him look bad. That's his main issue with people playing his shit back is, well, if you play my words back, then it's coming directly out of my mouth, so I can't refute that. I can't say I didn't say that. He'll say, well, write it down. Why can't you write it down? That's what I do instead of playing your video. Well, if you write it down, you can get it wrong. And then he can come back and say, well, I didn't say that.
If I was really interested in breaking his videos down, I can show every point where he's been a hypocrite. Like for instance, the loyalty thing. When he say he's loyal, all you do is go back to his those channels are gone, so you can't find the videos. But you can go back and talk about Nikki Pope. You said, I say I'm loyal. Well, let's talk about Nikki. Let's talk about what you did when Fabi came around and you dissed them for Nikki. They were trying to tell you, no, we don't want to go in that direction after they built your channel. And you said, no, we're going to go in that direction with Fabi. Forget about y'all, even though y'all helped build my channel. That's not loyalty. See, ZX failed to realize one thing. Anything he says about someone else, like you just said, you can easily turn it on him with his videos. And like you said, that's why he don't want people playing his videos, because he knows that people can catch him in a lie at any time. Anytime.
Yep.
But my thing is,
if your words are strong enough, you don't have to worry about what you said. You don't have to worry about anybody repeating it or replaying back what you said, because what you said made sense. But he understands that he's a fraud, so I can't let you play my words back, because you'll show where I'm a fraud, and you'll be able to break it down and analyze it and show the truth of what I'm actually saying, instead of taking at face value what I'm saying. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to take what I say at face value. I don't want you to think. I just want you to listen to what I'm saying about everybody else on YouTube. Don't look at me at all. And then somebody said something about his house, the fact that he got his house, he swindled some old lady out of the house, and this fool showed picture after picture of him like renovating the house, like that was relevant to the whole conversation. That shit had nothing to do with it. Like, what you showing all these pictures for? To prove what? That I took the house, and after I took it, I put all this extra shit in it. Like he completely went away from the fact that people are saying you swindled this lady out of the house. That's the point. Fuck all that the renovation, like that has nothing to do with it. Oh, you don't have a house. You can't renovate your house like this. Like, so what? Nobody cares about any of that shit, dude. You stole that woman's house. That's the whole point.
Well, the thing about that also is to the point where, let me say this first. Actually, Meow, that right there was nothing but a front. He didn't want those people back. He don't want that old crew back. He just told Niedermeyer that.
When did he say that?
Meow said yesterday. He told Niedermeyer that. But that's just a front, though. He was
Yes, it
telling her
was.
that to make her feel better about herself. That's all that was. That's all it
And I
was.
don't know if you guys if you notice, he will always say he will let other people apologize to him and come back, but he'll never say that he apologizes to anybody else. And he will never admit that he was wrong about anything he did. If you try to
Right.
say that you were wrong, which is why he let Mayor and Vic come back,
Right.
because he puts it on them to say, well, they are saying that, you know, I'm coming back, I'm trying to be cool with you. He's not trying to be cool with them. They're trying to be cool with him, and he's using them to build his numbers because Mayor has a stronger audience than him. Even Vic does, even though most of the people in his chat are there to troll him. I mean, Vic is fun. Like it's fun to
Yeah,
just
right.
fuck with Vic.
Vic is Vic. You know, you can't
Yeah,
change Vic. Always gonna be Vic. You know, that's why people don't read when they look at Vic, they're like, shit, that's just Vic. We don't care about that. You know, Vic just being Vic. No, but
right.
with him is to the point where it's like, dude, you sit here and you just consistently lie to people. It's like, for instance, he tells people that he's the king of the sector, right? Now, if you're the king of the sector, that means that everybody should be running to your channel. You should have to go nowhere else. You're the clout. They're coming to you to give you views and try to get what you got. But no, you're running to everybody else. So you can't be the king of the sector. It's just
Right.
obvious shit that he says that you can say, dude, come on, let's be real. You're sitting here lying to yourself. You're making yourself king of the sector, but you're nowhere near the king of the sector.
Well,
But
yeah,
I
he
just
says that he is, but I mean, what sector? Because he's not part of the black sector. I mean, he's been kicked out of the black sector like 2 years ago. So he keeps trying to say, "Well, us in the black sector." No, dude, you've been ostracized like a long time ago. You're not part of the black sector anymore. Nobody in the black sector really fucks with him, but Mayor and
Vic and
Diet
Diet.
and Vic,
Yeah,
and that's
that's
it.
it.
But he's not part of
No
the
one
black
else.
sector anymore. Nobody wants to have anything to do with that dude anymore. And
Yeah,
when I
like,
watch him, like I said, I'm only watching this to hear what stupid shit he's gonna say. And then when he just when he keeps lying and saying I'm loyal and all, that's when I just cut it off. Like I can't watch it anymore.
I go back to the conversation that him and MBK had the other day, and they was talking about how they should move now. That lasted all but 2 seconds. The next day, right back to the old content again. See, my thing is, if you really want to change your image, you want to change your content, just change your content. Don't get up here and tell people what they should be doing when you refuse to do it yourself.
But I
It's
remember I told him
all
that.
about the drama.
I told him that on your channel, on your show one day when he tried to come over, and he said, "Well, why don't you show me how to do it?" Like trying to use one of those old deflection
Right.
tactics. I was like, dude, like I know this game. You can't tell me. You can't use the deflections on me. It doesn't work. I know what you're doing. And he just like kept trying to say that. Well, you should start a show and show me how to do it. Like, dude, I've already gone through all this with Tommy. You can't use all that. You show me how to do it. You do this. It's not about me, dude. You're the one doing the shows. You're the one on here telling everybody else you didn't care about when this happened. And you could be talking about this, and you could be. So he tells everybody else what they could be talking about. He says that all three sectors are the ghetto sectors. It's not the black sector. It's not the beef sector. It's not the Mo3 sector. It's all the ghetto sector. And all of you are stupid and dumb. And you could be talking about this, and you could be doing this. Okay, well, why don't you do it? You're the one doing the show. Why don't you do all that shit? If you care about all that shit you bring up and all this, we got to do better. We gotta look out for each other. Like, okay, well then when are you gonna start doing that? You on here talking about killing everybody every day. All he talks about is come to my door and I'll kill you and all this kind of bullshit. Like there's no black unity in this fool. He doesn't care.
He remind me of a person who lives in the ghetto but call everybody else ghetto.
Right.
It's like you living in the housing authority apartments, but at the same time you're calling everybody else saying they live in the ghetto. It's like, dude, come on, you can't separate the two. You're in the
And
ghetto too.
my favorite thing is when he calls these black women unfit mothers. Like, bruh, how you gonna call any of these black women unfit? Your mom had you at 14 years old, man. 14. She was a child. But you can defend that. but you put all these other women down. And he'll say, I'm proud of my mother. But you're proud of a woman that had a child at 14. You can excuse
Right.
that, but you put all these other black women down and say that they're unfit mothers, they're terrible people, and they do all this kind of shit. You called CPS on it. If CPS had been around when he was around or when he was born, somebody could have called him on his mom and on his dad for having sex with this 14-year-old. But
Right.
he can justify it all somehow. When it's him, he's got reasons. When it's everybody else, it's bad, it's negative, they're stupid. And I can back up everything I'm saying as to why everybody else is stupid and what they're doing is wrong. But if I'm doing the exact same thing or the exact same thing as in my life, I can give you reasons for it. And my reasons, you should accept my reasons, but I shouldn't accept your reasons for what you do. So, I mean, that's why I don't call people out. Like, I don't get on here and try to call people out about how they live their life. You live your life how you live it. Like, you learn from your experiences or you don't. But to get on here and be doing the same shit that somebody else is doing or worse, and then try to call them out on it, like, that's ridiculous. That's the ultimate hypocrisy, and that's what he does.
Well, I just made a great point too. The mother of his child gave her away to him. You know,
right? Because he pretty much
and
forced her to.
Right. So it's to the point where hypocrisy runs rampant over there. It's just hypocrisy. And like I say, and the biggest thing of all that really gets me is when he gets on this gay bashing routine.
Right.
And I listen to this dude, It's like, you are so ignorant. You're so ignorant. But he plays himself every time because he hates Jay Wilson, but he likes Sean Bradley. Sean Bradley is more.
He can't stop bringing up Jay Wilson.
Hmm?
He can't stop bringing Jay Wilson up.
Right.
Out of the blue, he'll bring him up.
And Sean Bradley is more flamboyant as a gay person than Jay Wilson is. But he likes Sean Bradley, though. Come on. It's like, really, dude? It's like, how can you sit here and tell me you despise gay people, but at the same time, you like this gay person, but you hate Jay Wilson? And it can't just be because of the religious aspect of it.
Well, that's the excuse that he uses. It has nothing to do with religion. He just is looking for an excuse to talk to and talk about this gay dude.
Yeah.
And he clearly has some sort of interest in it.
But that's another thing also. If you despise gay people so much, why are you even playing around in the beef sector?
Right.
It's
like once you went over there and saw what the dynamic was, and you saw this is made up of mostly women and mostly gay dudes, or pretty much 99% gay dudes. And then a lot of the women there are gay themselves. So it's like, okay, well, most of the people here are gay. Why am I even still coming back over here if I'm not gay?
Right. And I despise them. I hate them.
Right.
I can't stand them. It goes against God's will.
They're an abomination. And if I was ruling the world, you would be eliminated. Like he said that.
But then he sits up here, he got VS on his panel.
Right.
Like it's
but I didn't watch the whole interview. Did he even bring that subject up, the whole homosexual thing?
Honestly, I didn't watch. I probably watched 3 minutes of that. I didn't, because I just hate the fakeness of it. Because I know it's not real, and I know the whole conversation on both videos, both lives he did it's all fake. It's all phony, you know. And VS, I don't really know her, but I have watched a couple of her lives a couple of times. She seems like she's a down to earth, real person. So I'm trying to figure out, why would she allow herself to be used like that, knowing that this dude talked about her being bisexual, and not only that, he talks about other gay people. So it's like, why would you even put yourself in that predicament to even go over there and help him out? And I just can't do it.
She's an opportunity. She's gonna try to take as much. She's just out to get paid. She's made that very clear. She's trying to get paid, and whatever she can get, that's what she's out to get. And I can respect her for being honest about what she's doing, whereas he's trying to do the same thing, but he's not honest about it, and he doesn't know how to go about doing it. So she was around, went to jail, came back, and blew back up again, and he ended up. I mean, he was already in the trash by then anyhow, but he's trying to come back, and all this shit has happened to him. He keeps talking about, like somebody, he talked about somebody recently about not having a car. I'm thinking, dude, you don't have a car anymore. Your shit was flipped upside down. What happened to you and you not having a car? Like you are this fool is lucky to still be alive, but he comes back and he's still talking shit.
It is amazing, huh? It's just amazing. But also,
and talking
this is my thing.
Talking tough like he's gonna beat people up. Man, you 58 years old. You're not beating up these young people. They'll whoop your ass.
Well, the thing about that is this right here. How can you be a intelligent, dependable individual when you have lost so much since you've been on YouTube? Just imagine this dude when he came onto the scene. He was so-called in this charity thing. He had his own company. He had all this going for himself. And here it is, 2024, a few years later, and he's just like everybody else. Everybody he talks about being a bum, not having no kind of motivation, not doing this right, not doing that right. That's him.
Right.
That is him. In a nutshell, dude, do you realize YouTube have cost you so much to the point where you're on YouTube now begging for cars, computers, for them to pay you for your lifestyle?
Right. And he let it happen because we tried to warn him about how this works. I kept trying to tell him just from the very beginning, like, dude, the way you look at this is completely wrong. You keep trying to equate YouTube to the real world. And I was trying to use the analogy, like, I'm from LA, and if he was to come to LA acting like, well, I'm from Philly and we do stuff, I can walk through any neighborhood wearing all red. Back in the 80s and the 90s, he'd have done that. He could have got killed. And I'm trying to explain to you, when you come to a different environment, you got to adhere to that environment. You can't just be like, I'm going to do what I want to do over here. And we do stuff like this in Philly. Like, it doesn't matter how you do it in Philly. You come over there to LA with wearing red and talking some dumb shit in the wrong neighborhood, you're not going home. And that's what I was trying to explain to him. Like, that's what's happening to him on the internet. You keep trying to tell people, well, this is how I do stuff in real life. This isn't real life, dude. This is the internet. We have different rules on the internet and we do shit different. People come here to be elusive. They come here to be anonymous. That's the whole point. And it's words. It's just words. People say stuff. They're not trying to really hurt you. Even Jim isn't trying to hurt him. Jim's been to his house like 5 times.
Yeah.
And I mean, I got to admit, that shit is hilarious. Like, Jim just torments him. And that's the whole point. He's not trying to hurt you, but he got mad. Like, he almost had an aneurysm when Jim was talking to him on the phone and telling him, like, you owe me. Because he told Jim, you come to my door and ring the doorbell, I'll give you $1,000. He did that. He still owes Jim $1,000. So
Jim actually went to the door and rang the doorbell?
Yeah, he did that. He rang the doorbell. Yeah. He ran, but he rang the doorbell. That's what he said. He said, come to my house and ring the doorbell. So he did that. And if you do it, I'll give you $1,000. So he owes Jim $1,000.
Damn, I missed that one. Damn.
Yeah, it's on video, but you can't see Jim's face. He like, you can see it on his Ring doorbell. You see him walk up, drop something, ring the doorbell, and then runs off. So he did what he was asked to do. Pay that man his money.
Well, he's always invite people to his house. So, my thing is, why you invite people to your home? If you really want to do something to them, why don't you get on a plane, buy a ticket, get on a plane, and go visit them for once? These people not actually. Matter of fact, who was that? Someone last week, Rod Rack. I think it was Rod Rack. He threatened him, said, come to my house, come to my house, come to my house. I'm like, hold on. Did Rod Rack say he wanted to come to your house? So why are you inviting him to come? If you want to see him, why don't you get on the plane and go see him? But see, that's another thing that shows me how big of a fraud he is. Because it's like, dude, if you really want to get someone, if you really want them, you go to them. Don't keep inviting them to your house. Don't be, I know the reason he do it, because he want to try to show people that he's a badass, but at the same time, he's showing people that he's a coward, because you're trying to get people to come to your house where you can shoot them. They didn't actually come to your house. You're inviting them.
Right. And then the other thing is, like, he needs to really stop saying that, because Cookie already called his bluff. She showed up, she rang the doorbell, she stood there, he came out with gun in hand and didn't shoot. So it's like, you don't pull a gun, like they said when we were kids, don't pull a gun if you're not going to use it. Now, I don't think he should have shot Cookie. I don't think that he should shoot anybody. But the point is, you said you were going to do it, you didn't do it. So, number one, you lied. Number two, just stop talking shit. It's not like he said, because he told her specifically that he would do that if she showed up to his house. She
Right.
did. He didn't. So, and why are you arguing with women, dude? And why are you threatening women's lives? Like, that's the other thing that leans toward the gay thing. Like, you arguing with women all the time.
You know what? I sit back and I try to analyze that whole situation with him arguing with women, being in women business all the time. And now I have a new perspective on this since I learned what I learned yesterday. I think he just got too much estrogen in him.
Right.
And he can't overcome that. So he has to associate with those with women. He has to be around women, you know. And I'm not for the people who listen to this, I'm being serious. I'm being dead serious with this. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to, drag or roast. I'm being serious. I really think by me knowing what I know now that he has too much estrogen in him. He was born like that. He was born like that.
Yeah, I think
It's just
because
natural.
he will say things that will let you know that basically he was born like that, because he will say, the men in my house or the men in my family, which he never says his father, the men in my family, my uncles and my grandmother, they would pretty much beat it out of somebody if they saw homosexuality, or they would
Right.
bring out the Bible and talk about the Bible and religion and all that kind of stuff. So basically he had it beat into his head and probably into his ass when he was a kid. You're not going to be like that, because they probably saw it in him as a child, and they were trying to basically beat it out of him. And then he grew up thinking that's what you're supposed to do. And he had religion beat into him by his grandmother. So he's telling us basically what he has to go through and what he's been going through. And that lets you know, like, these things are there. He wasn't brought up with his father. He was brought up with all these other men around him, but it wasn't his father. And he never talks about his father. He once said, I heard stories about him. Well, you heard stories about him, but you weren't raised by him. But you keep saying to other people who raised you, and you didn't have a father in your life. And then when he talks about the black family, I just start cracking up. Like, dude, you don't have a family. You have a broken family. You are part of the problem. You got a woman pregnant, didn't marry her, but you keep telling other people about marriage, black families, and all this shit. You never married the mother of your child. And you keep saying you love her and she's beautiful and all this kind of shit, but why didn't you marry her? Because she didn't want to marry him.
I told you, nothing but hypocrisy. It's nothing but hypocrisy whatsoever. Like I said, he can drag other people, he can talk about other people, but he's so sensitive to the point where once you bring his name up and start talking about his flaws, he goes ape shit.
And that drag thing, like, that's what the women say. Like, he keeps saying that about they're drag children, they're dragging children. He doesn't care about that. He's just trying to appeal and appease to women, because women are the caregivers of children. So he's trying to pull at their heartstrings to make them think, oh, well, he stands for children. He doesn't care about children. Well, he's just trying to play women so he can get them to come and give him their money.
Well, that's another thing also. If he cared about kids so much, and like I said, you can point out hypocrisy everywhere just by going back and looking at some old videos or going back and just remembering back when he did certain things. It's like, dude, you say you care about kids, but you put a child picture up on your platform to point out some things about that child. So is that caring? Was that caring, or was that content? That was content. You didn't care about that child. You care about the content. So it's like when you break it down, dude, stop being a hypocrite. Ashe, same thing. If you really care about kids, you're not going to give her a pass. You're going to pretty much say, look, you're the same as everybody else. You can't be dragging kids. I understand somebody drug your kids or whatever, but you shouldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? You can't justify that if you care about kids. That's why I say you can point out every hypocrisy move that he does, because he shows himself. But then he gets upset when you point it out to him that, look, dude, if you care about a child, you're not going to put a child up on your platform. You didn't try to block out the face or anything. You just put the child picture up there and then start pointing out the flaws that you saw. That's not caring. That's not caring at all. But in his world, I guess that's caring. But no, in my world, it's caring about the content. It was all about content. It was all about going after the mother, trying to make the mother look bad. So you use the child, which is not caring. That just worse as you dragging the child, pretty much. You know, then not only that,
I mean, what's worse than talking about a child? For one, those children aren't hearing anything that's being said, but calling an organization that takes children out of homes is way worse than talking about children online.
Yeah.
Because you're actually affecting the lives of those children and you're affecting the lives of that mother. Whether or not you believe what she's doing is right, that's none of your business to call CPS to get those children removed from that house. That's doing way more damage than saying something about them online when the stuff that's being said, if there's anything being said, because I don't hear anybody saying stuff about children, but if they are, then it's falling, it stops right there. It doesn't get to the child, so it doesn't hurt the child. The only reason they say it is to hurt the mother because they're just trying to insult the mother. That's a given. But he wants to try to make it into something that it's not. I can't stand people who drag children. Like, they're not hurting the kid. And yeah, this is something that even Beasley told him a long time ago. None of this hurts the child. It's just words. And you are trying to make it into something else. Like, you don't really care about those kids. If you cared about those kids, you wouldn't call CPS to get them taken away from their mothers.
Well, the thing about it is when he calls to show you how much he cares, he records it and he plays it back for content. So we know the game. This is not about you caring. This is about content. Because if you really cared, if you really, really care, you won't be, even if you recorded it, you won't be replaying it on the internet if you really cared. So,
just like, he recorded his mother crying online about this guy that was supposed to be his cousin that was killed, and he played it back on the internet. Like, that was the most insensitive and stupid thing he's ever did, and he used that for content.
Content. It's all about content. Everything's about content, and that's why I laugh when he's talking about everybody else doing things for content. That's what he does. Everything he does is motivated by content. Everything.
They're not saying that they're not. They're not saying they're not doing it for content, but he is. He's trying to say he's not doing it.
But like I said, that's just a hypocrisy.
Right. But other subjects.
But yeah, enough of that. Yeah. We had enough of that. But what we was talking about before all that started? If I change the subject, I ran Toyota.
Abortion, I think.
Yeah, Toyota, you still here, man? I ran you off. I'm sorry, Toyota. But nah,
though. Thing was abortion, and I just think it's a touchy subject because I think if they're gonna do it, they should do it in the early stages before it becomes an embryo. And I think people just use it these days as a prevention, like an after effect, because they were irresponsible. They were sexually irresponsible. So, well, I messed up. I made a choice because to me that choice was made when they had irresponsible sex. Now, every once in a while, a condom might break or something like that. That's like an outlier. Like that's something that usually is a rarity. But when people choose to have irresponsible sex and then somebody gets pregnant and then they're like, well, I'm having an abortion just because I don't want to have a kid because I messed up. Well, you made your choice. You made your choice to have irresponsible sex. So, but at the same time, I can't say you need to have this child. Who am I to tell somebody that they need to have a child? You know, I'm not going to be the one there taking care of it. Somebody has to take care of it. But if they can't do it, you can't force somebody to have a child and then tell them, well, you got to take care of it. I'm not going to have anything to do with, raising that child. Well, then you can't tell them to have it either.
Well, that's the whole thing about it. To me, like I said, it goes back to this vaccine issue. When they were saying my body, my choice. They don't want to put nothing in their body they don't want to. They don't want to mandate that they have to take that vaccine. And all right, that's fine. But my thing, those same people are saying that you can tell someone if they can have an abortion or not. The same people, same group of people. And to me, that is crazy. You can't tell me I can't make you take a vaccine, but then you turn around and say, well, I can make you tell you that you can't have an abortion. and that's your body. You know, and that's the hypocrisy of this whole thing now. Like everything is wrapped in hypocrisy. You know, like for instance, the book bans. You know, they banning books. It's like, how can you ban a book? Huh?
Where are they banning?
All right, you know what? You know what? You know what? That's a wrong thing to say. They are taking books out of schools, out of high schools, because they feel like they're inappropriate. And a lot of these books are not inappropriate. So to the point where it's like, why can't you let the parents make that decision if the book is inappropriate or not? Instead of the government telling the people that it's inappropriate. To me, that's crazy. You know, it's like we talk about freedom, but then again, we turn around, we try to tell people what they can do, what they can't do. You can't have an abortion. You can't read this book. You can't do this. You can't do that. What is freedom at? Hypocrisy. That's all it is. It's slap hypocrisy. And it's sad that we're at the state now where everybody is a hypocrite. Everybody's a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. A lot of these, there's a lot of hypocrisy, and a lot of people are. There's a flip side to the whole freedom thing, because people want the freedoms, but they don't want to understand that there's consequences that come with certain freedom.
Right.
So, you know, yeah, you can have freedom of speech, but you can't yell fire in a crowded room, like all that kind of stuff. You can do things, but there are the consequences that you have to accept that go along with doing that thing. And most people don't want to deal with the consequences when they're doing the thing. They want to say, well, I'm free to do whatever I want. But then when it comes time to deal with the law and go to jail for breaking the law, like that's the consequence. Like you decided,
Right.
I want to steal something. Okay, you got caught. Now accept the fact that you got caught. Now you're going to jail. But then they're like, well, I don't want to go to jail and I got to get a good lawyer to keep me out of jail. No, you knew what you were doing when you decided to steal. So when people say reckless shit online, it's like, I personally believe it's just words. So I don't think that there needs to be consequences for most things that are said, unless it's like a direct threat on somebody's life, like somebody's life or their family's life or something like that. Like if it's a direct threat, that's another story, because usually after that threat, there's action. But for the most part, when people are just talking shit, can you still hear me?
Yep, I hear you. You're fading out though. You're fading out.
Yeah, when people are talking shit, it just stops there. Like most people aren't really trying to get into fights and shoot people. We see that every day on YouTube. People constantly calling people out, but it stops there. They're not really trying to do anything. So
Right.
for the most part, it's just words. So a lot of times people just don't want to accept the fact that there's consequences that come with your actions. So this whole freedom thing, like, yeah, you have freedoms, but just understand there's certain perimeters that you can operate in without getting into consequences. So when you lose that job because you said some racist shit on TV, like you got to understand, like that's how the game is played. You're going to lose something. So you got to accept that.
Well, the problem there is to the fact that it's so many people. Well, we are pawns. We are pawns in this game. And that's why I try to tell people we need to wake up and understand we are nothing but pawns. Prime example, Elon Musk. Now, he bought Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, because he thought that they were censoring people's speech. He wanted change. He wanted to make his platform open to everybody. No matter what you can say anything you want to say. That's fine and dandy. But the problem is he's a hypocrite. Because even he has people that he don't want on his platform, that he banned from his platform. Prime example, I'm not sure if you've seen this, Don Lemon. He gave Don Lemon a show. He was going to start doing his show on X. The first person to interview was Elon Musk for that show. He got so upset at Don Lemon because of what the discussion about that the next day he canceled Don Lemon. so it's like people need to wake up and understand we're all pawns. Stop getting so invested in these people because they are all hypocrites. None of them are serious. They're using people's emotions just to make money for themselves. That's what it's all about. When you boil it down, it's making money and staying in power. If anybody believes that Elon Musk is all about freedom of speech, you're an idiot. You're a freaking idiot. Because he's not.
He proved that when he took over. He proved that when he took over Twitter, like when he was constantly shutting down Trump, he was proving that he's not about freedom of speech. Like Trump, I don't agree with most of what Trump says, but I mean, it's Twitter. What's the big deal? Like somebody wants to say something. If he wants to say something stupid, let him say something stupid. Let it stay there in writing so you have it in proof. But to try to shut it down says that you want to control people's ability to speak, and that is controlling information. So he's being part of the problem. And the problem these days is a lot of the people on the left are extremists. They're being extreme about everything they're doing. So they are becoming the problem now, where it used to be extreme conservatism. Now it's extreme liberalism, and they are making things just as bad as the conservatives did, because they're trying to take away rights just like conservatives did. And it's like, if you say something that offends people, then we need to stop you from speaking. Well, you're just as much of a problem as they are.
Well, see the thing with that is it goes both sides. If you look at CNN and MSNBC, they talk about counseling and so on, just like Ronna Diamond just got counseled. Well, I ain't gonna say she got counseled, but they didn't want her over there, so they fired her. But if you look at Fox, we talk about Bud Light, we talk about all these other things that people don't like, Nike or whatever. So it's like both sides at this point in time are being nothing but hypocrites. Both sides are canceling people. It happened on both sides. But the thing about it is, the people get so embedded, right? So many people get so embedded into this crap that they don't understand that both sides are doing it. The left is doing it and the right is doing it. So stop getting embedded in this crap. You know, I tell everybody, if you want to listen to Fox News, that's fine. Go listen to CNN sometime also. You know, go listen to MSNBC sometime. Go listen to Newsmax sometimes. Diversify the things that you're listening to, because you get so embedded into this echo chamber that you start repeating the same crap day in and day out. And the only ones that's winning out of all of this are the politicians and the millionaires and the billionaires. Those are the only one winning. Everybody's suffering.
That's true.
It's crazy. It's really crazy. I tell these people, when the people that lives in West Virginia, in rural West Virginia, or rural Georgia, or rural Kentucky, what are you talking about? You're just like me. You're poor. You're poor. You're backing a so-called billionaire, and you believe everything he's saying, but at the same time, you're living off policies made by the Democrats. You're receiving government assistance, a lot of you are. You're receiving things that poor people receive, and those things are coming from the government, from Democrats.
Right.
But you believe
the whole thing,
in a billionaire.
Right. The whole thing, like you said, it's an emotional playground. People are just playing with people's emotions to get them to side with them. And that's why you don't move based on your emotions. You have to think.
Right.
You got to eliminate, well, what I feel. That's the thing that drives me nuts now when I hear people saying, I feel this and I feel that. It's not about what you feel, it's about what you think. So you need to feel less and think more when we're dealing with like serious situations. You feel when you're dealing with like emotional stuff, like when you're dealing with somebody that you care about, you know, in an emotional way, then that's when feelings apply. But when you're dealing with life, you know, on a day-to-day basis, you don't react out of emotion, you don't move in emotion, because all that stuff can throw you in prison, because you're moving based on your anger most of the time. When you're in your anger, you're out of your mind. You're in your feelings, you're out of your mind. You're not thinking anymore. So that's why there's people kill people that they love. They really love them, but if they can't have them and possess them, they'll kill them so that nobody else will have them. That's you moving in your emotions. That's dangerous.
That's it.
So we can't move like that in life. So that's why I don't watch any of that stuff. I don't watch any of those channels, because they're not news. Number one, it's a bunch of people giving their opinions about stuff.
Yeah.
And when we grew up in the 70s and 80s, when we saw the news on TV, it was a newscaster telling you what happened that day. That's it. That's all it's supposed to do.
That is true.
These people are on here giving their opinions. They're they're bringing people on to talk about stuff. And that's not what this is supposed to be about. Like, just tell us what happened, and you know, we formulate what we want to formulate from it. We keep it moving.
Well, that's the new hustle these days, because if you really think about it now, I'm going to use Umar Johnson as a prime example of this. They want to keep you emotionally invested. because that's
Yeah,
how
he's
they
a
make their
race
money.
hustler. He's a
Yeah,
modern day
and
race hustler.
Umar is great at that. He's great at keeping black people emotionally outraged. He's great at it. And that's why he can do what he do. That's why he can say, 10 years ago, I said I'm gonna open up a school. And here it is, 2024, in which he bought this school back in 2019. Here it is in 2024, 5 years later, and the school still hasn't opened. And the reason why? Because he got people so emotionally invested in him that they're not seeing, they're not thinking with their brains.
Right.
They're only emotionally reacting to him. And he goes around the country, he gives these speeches, and it's like, what are y'all doing? But they're so emotionally outraged at what he's saying that they don't think. They just listen to his bullshit.
He's using the victim mentality as his basis of his whole existence. So if he continues to tell black people you're a victim of racism and white supremacy, then they will listen to his rhetoric, and they will listen to somebody continue to tell them you can't do anything for yourself because of all these other things. And you can help me by giving me money, and then I can help you by building this school that will educate black people. But it's been almost 10 years now, and this school's still not in existence. It was a scam from the very beginning, but he knew he could use that because he could use the people's emotions, like you said, to get them to give him money so that he could push what he wants to push, which is basically living off of these people, because he's not pushing anything that's tangible. It's all just, let me keep telling you that you're a victim. And as long as you keep thinking that you're a victim, you have no power to change anything, because you're expecting whatever it is that is messing up your life to fix it. And that's not how it works. You got to fix it yourself. So maybe something is in the way, but you got to do something about it.
Well, the thing about it is we live in a world now where there is no such thing as free thinking anymore. Everybody's looking for a leader. And that's the problem also. Everybody's looking for a leader. Nobody want to think for themselves anymore. It just amazed me how many grown people I see are looking for someone to speak for them in this community. You know, and then when I turn around, I think about Umar, I think about Tariq, I think about the ADOS movement. All these different movements come along, and it's like people gravitate towards those movements, and it's like, why don't you think for yourself? If you think for yourself, you might become a better person just by thinking for yourself. Umar Johnson don't care about you. He really don't. He only care about himself. He only care about traveling around the country, traveling around the world, telling you nonsense and getting you emotionally invested into his nonsense. What have he done for you? How many times have you seen Umar marching in the streets? How many times? How many times have you seen Tariq Nasheed marching in the streets? These people
got to watch that interview with Tariq and Jesse Lee Peterson. Jesse Lee Peterson makes him look stupid because he just kept talking about white supremacy, systematic racism. And Jesse at one point just said, you know, it's interesting that a black man can continue to sit up here and talk about what other people are doing to him, but he doesn't say anything about what he's doing about it. And he asked him, are you a victim? And he said, yeah, I'm a victim of white supremacy. Like right there, that was it. He just killed himself right there. Like you just admitted that something else rules your world. Then he said, so you're not successful right now? And he said, well, I am, but at any moment they could take it from me. He said, but they're not taking it from me. So right now you're successful, right? And he's like, so have they taken anything from you? And he's like, well, they can. Well, have they? They can, but have they? And he just kept going back and forth. That whole interview is hilarious. And Tariq just sitting there looking.
Jesse?
Yeah.
Jesse did that?
Yeah. Jesse made him look stupid. And Jesse is the biggest troll on the internet, but he basically asked him questions so that he could make himself look stupid. And throughout that whole interview, like Tariq is looking all like, oh, I'm good, I got this, and I'm playing along with Jesse. No, Jesse's playing you. He made you play yourself, and you didn't even realize that you were getting played. And he tried to give him the coon train and all this kind of stuff, and like he was making a fool of himself instead of making a fool out of Jesse, which was what his goal was, and he ended up looking stupid.
I gotta go check that out because I haven't. I seen very few. I haven't seen none really, other than what you're telling me now, of anybody that Jesse made a fool out of. Other than let me say this right here. I think anybody who goes on his show is a fool.
Right. That's what I was about
Bottom
to
line.
say.
Yeah, bottom line. So
Anybody who goes on there thinking I'm smarter than Jesse, yeah, you might be,
yeah,
but he's gonna set it up so that you just fall right on your face every time. So
right
a
into the
lot of
trap.
people on that he's brought on there are really intelligent, but
Yeah,
he asks them questions to set them up so that they can say what he wants them to say to prove you don't know what you're doing. And I can just mess with you and pull your puppet strings and
yeah. Like you say,
pull your
he doesn't
string
but
to
a
make you
troll.
react. Yeah,
He
he
a
just like
troll making good money.
he'll say stuff to make people react. Like he'll say, Black Lives Matter, the group that was founded by fat black radical lesbians,
Yes,
and he'll
yes.
say it like that to get you to
Marxist.
respond and throw you off of the whole conversation because he wants you to get angry. And then he'll say, "Do you agree with that?" And it's like, dude, you just said a whole bunch of stupid shit. Now you're asking me, do I agree with it? No, I don't agree with it.
Well, you know
But
what?
yeah,
It goes back. It goes back what we was
he's
talking about. It's all about
Uh,
emotions. It's all about
right.
emotions.
That's all it is. And he just brings them on there to get them mad and get them because he's not asking them like serious questions. Like,
Right.
do you love white people? Like, what are you asking that for? Just to get them mad. And then what is a man? Like, and then everybody always goes into some weird, like esoteric question or answer. And then that's another thing for me. Like when he asked that question, what is a man? What a man is what you were talking about earlier, the whole
Right.
biological aspect of it. A man is an adult male. That's what a man is. What a man does is what he's asking you. But what you answer with is what a man does. And that's not what he's really asking. The question is, what is a man? What is a man? And a man is a biological being. You are a male. That's it. You are an adult male. That's what a man is. What a man does is a different story from what a man is.
Since you brought that up, I'm gonna ask you a question. Ice Cube, what do you think about females playing in the Ice Cube basketball league?
Or is it an all female league? Or
No,
is
no,
it?
no, 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 no. What it is? He offered Caitlin Clark a contract to come and
No,
play in
I don't
three
think
ball.
men and women should be playing against each other in sports because it's. I mean, men clearly love sports more than women. We're clearly better at it than they are, and it's not to put them down. We're physically different than women are. So we're bigger, faster. Um, the best WNBA player cannot guard, uh, somebody on the bench on the NBA. Like they just, it's not. We're physically different.
Mm.
It's a physical. The physical aspect of basketball is still too much for a woman in basketball. Like if a dude went all out and played physical, under the paint, like a woman's gonna get destroyed. And it's not that to put them down. It's just that's how we're built. We're built differently. So I don't think we should be competing in each other's sports against each other in sports. And
Well,
I'm
I look at
definitely against the whole like trans thing,
trans.
trans men that are turned into women playing in women's like that's just ridiculous. That's not even a discussion. Like, no, of course they
Well,
should.
I'm gonna take it from another point of view, from a different point of view. And the reason why I'm gonna take it from another point of view because I believe over the last 20 or so years, you've been seeing a lot of females sprinkling in here. They playing football, they're playing basketball with males, they're playing, they're interacting with male sports now. So my thing is, if females can interact with male sports, why can't a man interact in a female sports? And I understand the difference of the size, the speed, the strength. I understand all that, but still, if you allow females to play college football, why can't a man play in a female sport? Let's keep it equal here. To me
well,
personally, if you're gonna start down that road, you can't complain about a trans competing with females because you got females playing a male sport.
like they say, and I don't agree with it, but like they say that equal rights get equal lefts. So it's like You know, you say you want to come in and play football against grown men, you're gonna get destroyed. I'm 6'2", and you know, when I was young enough to play football, I wasn't gonna go in there and play against a dude that's 6'5", 300 pounds of solid muscle. I'm not doing that. I'm not trying to get crushed, and I'm a
Right.
man. So if you're a woman, I don't care how big you are as a woman, like you just are built different. You get hit by a 300-pound lineman, it's not fun. So, but if you think you want to do that, hey, who am I to tell you you can't go get in the line against, you know, some giant dudes and get knocked on your ass? If that's what you want to do, okay. But I just think it's a bad idea.
Well, that's why I don't care about that's why I really don't get into this trans thing, because it's like I see females trying to get into male sports. So equal. If a female can play in a man's sports, why can't a man play in a female sport? And that's why I don't get into it. That's why when they bring this dumb argument up, I just laugh about it. Because it's all about having equal rights, right? You are entitled to play any sport you want as a female. Man sports, female sports. You entitled to play. So why can't a man be entitled to play in a female sport? That's where I look at that.
And let's be honest with the whole equal rights thing. Like from the very beginning, it wasn't really about women wanted equal rights as men. They just wanted to not be told that they couldn't do things because they were women. Because when it comes to a relationship, women don't want to pay for anything. They still want the man to pay for everything. So they don't really want equality. They just don't want to be told you can't do something because you're a woman. And I get that. But that's what you should have made your argument from the very beginning. Like, don't tell us what we can't do because we're women. Don't tell us we can't vote. We can't go where we want to do and do what we want to do. We should be able to do what anybody else can do. But to say we want equality, no, you don't really want equality. You don't really, because you don't want to be working forklifts. You don't want to be building buildings. You don't want to be building highways. You don't want to do a lot of things that men do. You just want to be able to say that you can. And then, you know, women in the military, that's another thing. Women want to go in the military. I don't have a problem with that. Just don't be a liability and don't turn into, well, I'm a helpless woman when the bullets start flying. And there's not to say that that's what they do, but, you know, just don't do that. Like if you get in there, just soldier up. It's not about being a man or a woman. You got to soldier up. You got to face it head on just like anybody else. But this idea of, you know, and my mom she marched on Washington with ERA, the women's movement, like in the 70s. So I grew up around that, like my whole life, hearing that, like the women's equality stuff. So then I also found out later on, she's like, well, I've already done my job as a mother. I raised 2 kids, so I don't want to have to do anything in the house anymore. Like she can just stop doing stuff in the house. And my dad was like, I'm still working. So you don't get to stop working because you chose to stop working. Like we both have to do our job. You got to take care of the house. I still got to go work. Like this is how it works. So it's like, you know, if you want to be an adult, you want equal rights as an adult. I get that. At the same time, I think women should be taking care of themselves until they get married and have a family, you know, because you're an adult. Just like, you know, with your daughter, I think you're not giving her money all the time. And she's an adult. She takes care of herself until she gets married, and then she has like a family, and then the dynamic works, whereas the man goes out and earns a living, and the woman stays home and takes care of the home, and that's a job in and of itself. So, you know, it's just it wasn't respected in the past. That's why the whole women's rights movement started.
Well, that's also goes to show what the Bible is. When we talk about the Bible and people bringing the Bible, and this was said in the Bible, that was said in the Bible about a woman's role and a man's role. And now, if you look at 2024, the Bible is obsolete. You know, it's no more. You know,
to some degree, there's still a lot of Bible thumpers around. You know, I was on the channel with Godmama and Lurker last week, and we were talking about religion, and I was saying, like, you know, it was all written by men to control other people. That's pretty much what it came down to. And for Black people to still be holding on to religion in 2024 is just kind of
weird. I look at religions like, I look at it from a reality point of view. I'm like, if there is a God, what that is, if there is a God up there controlling the world, why is there so much evilness in the world? You know, it's like, why would you pray to someone who allowed you to be in bondage, who allowed you to go through so much suffering as a human being?
Right.
You know, and I look at people when they talk about the Bible. It's like, do y'all understand? In the New Testament, it talks about love, but in the world you live in, there's a lot of hate. So how can you be God-fearing and loving? Well, how can you be God-fearing?
Well, they say that the devil is doing all that. It's not God. That's the devil. So my question is, why does God allow the devil to exist if God is all powerful? And God clearly created Satan. He was a fallen angel. So why does he let him continue to live?
Right. Not only that, it seems like it's like Satan is stronger than God. If that's the
Right.
case.
If that's the case, if he's the one making you do stuff and God's not making you do stuff, that means that he's stronger than God. So people just, they don't realize when they say stuff that they don't realize that they put their foot in their mouth. Like, you just basically made the argument that Satan is stronger than God.
Right.
And you can't fight against Satan. Satan is too strong. I have to, like, well, Satan is too strong. Like, but the fact that you believe that there's some little red man underneath what? Like, we're living on a ball floating through space. Like, where is this? Where is this heaven? Where is this hell? Like, none of that stuff makes any sense.
It kind of say, you know, when you was a kid, they told you drill, you dig, you start digging, you dig your way to China. So if I'm digging my way to China on the other side, where's hell at?
Right, exactly.
But no, I look at people in religion. It's like, are y'all serious right about now? You know, are y'all really serious? It's like, you take a person like Trump, super. You're gonna love this super. Take a person like Trump, who have done a lot of devilish shit in his years, but he's very successful to a certain extent. That is, he's very successful. He's been president. He been a so-called billionaire, but according to a lot of people, he is the biggest so-called sinner in the world. So why is he being rewarded for being a sinner? And a lot of people who pray every day, who go to church 7 days a week, they're suffering. So it goes back to the old thing that the devil is stronger than God, because the devil is winning. You know, it's like black people have been praying forever. Black people have been praying forever. They've been praying ever since they touched down in this country. They've been praying. But for some reason, they last on the totem pole.
That's the whole point behind it being about control. It was given to us not to save us. It was given to us to control us. So it's given us we were told that in the Bible, it tells you that how to be a good slave. We were told that if you don't do certain things, or if you do certain things, that you won't be accepted by God. So they use this made up image and this idea of this omniscient being that sees and knows everything and built everything. If you don't do certain things, you're going to fall to the judgment of this being. But it wasn't even about that to begin with. It's just like, I'm using this to control people, to get them to do what I want them to do. That's all it really has been. And when black people still these days bring up the Bible, I just cringe. I'm like, why are you bringing that up? That's clearly a book that was written by men and altered by a king who put his name on it.
That's it.
And you want to run around here quoting stuff out of a book from a King James version. This man altered all kinds of stuff in there, put his name in it, changed how it was written, and then you want to quote it and say that this is law. And the worst thing that they use it for is homosexuality. And they try to say that in the Bible, it says it's an abomination and all this kind of stuff. Like, why do you care? If it's not you, why do you care? Like, you're not going to make them change. And then the idea that, well, it's a choice and that you're choosing to be that way. Nobody chooses to be gay any more than we choose to be straight.
Right. Not only that,
think about it. When you were a child, when did you choose to be straight? When did you start choosing to like girls? It just happened.
It's happened. You like who you
just
like.
Happened. And yeah, you like what you like. You had no choice over it. You know, like it just that's and then when we're young, when we're young boys, we don't like girls. We don't want to have anything to do with them. Then we get to a certain age, if that's in you, if you really like women, like it just happens. It's just a light, it's like a light switch pops on.
Right.
And you just like,
You
wait,
mature.
when did this happen?
It's like it's part of puberty. You know, you
Right.
grow up, you change, your whole body changes. And when your body changes, that's when your mentality changes and you get the switch on. Oh, damn, she's sexy. Damn, she's fine.
Exactly.
You know,
And you don't even know what sexy is. You
right.
you still
She
growing
just
up,
look
but
good to you. Right. You just
she
look
look
good. To
good.
you.
Something about it looks good
Right.
to you. You don't know why. You don't know what it is, but you
That's
don't
it.
have a choice in that. You don't look at your homie and go, well, you know, he looks good, and it doesn't happen because you're not attracted to him.
Well,
But
those same
if that's
people,
what you're naturally attracted to, that's what you're gonna gravitate
right.
towards.
But see, those same people who talks about homosexual being a devil thing in the Old Testament, but they never talk about the New Testament when Jesus come along and say, "Love thou neighbor." So I mean, you love
Right,
everybody. You know, you
right,
don't say I don't love homosexual. Well, that's the Old Testament. The New Testament tells you to love everybody, but they don't want to hear that part though. They just want to hear
nah,
the
they
part where
don't.
it's abomination part. You know, it's kind of crazy. But my thing about black people, and go back to the victimhood thing, religion actually is part of the problem and why black people feel like they're victims also.
True.
Because if you think about it, the only thing they want to do is pray about it. We're going to pray about it. We're going to pray about it. We're going to pray about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So basically what it is, we're not going to do anything to change it other than pray and play victim. And that's what religion have done so much harm to the black community over the years, to the point where it's like we need to get out of that mentality to the point where you are consistently victim because of your religion. Only thing you want to do is pray. How about getting on your 2 feet and go do some work?
right.
Work your way out
And
of this situation. You
both
know,
both praying and blaming racism, both of those put it onto somebody else to do something to change it. So if you
right,
pray, you putting it on God to change the situation. If you say it's racism and somebody's racist is why you can't move forward, you're
right.
expecting the people that you call your enemy to change and allow you to do stuff.
That's
The
it.
people, I mean, and that's the thing that irritates me when people say, like, every time we talk about police brutality, somebody brings up black on black crime. Well, the reason they bring it up is because if we're killing each other more so than somebody outside of us, that's more of a problem. If your so-called enemy is the white man or the police or whatever, if they're doing stuff to you, that's what they're supposed to do. They're
Right.
your enemy. Your enemy is not supposed to treat you well. Your own people are supposed to treat you
Treat you
better
well.
because that's
Right.
you. That's your family. That's supposed to treat you better than the outsider. The outsider has no connection to you, but you run into them expecting them to treat you better than your own. But then when your own are robbing from you, killing you, attacking you, all kinds of stuff, you got excuses for why they do that. Well, it's somebody
Yeah.
else that makes them do that. That's all bullshit. And
There
that's
you
part of
go.
that victim thing.
Yeah, I love they use black people are. I was listening to a Muslim dude this morning, and he was talking about how black people are so enslaved by slavery still.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hold on, it's 2024, and is it really that we're enslaved, or is it to the point where y'all want them to feel like they're enslaved? Because it's a
Yep.
mindset. It's nothing but a
It
mindset.
is.
Nothing but a mindset. And it's like when you go into the black community, like you said, we can kill each other and nothing is being said. But once a police officer kill one of us, we want to get outraged and demonstrate and loot and do all these crazy stuff over one person being killed, which is horrible, but still, look at the inner city itself. Black people die every day at the hands of other black people. No one says anything. No one is outraged. No one cares. So how can you, why do you want someone else to care about you when you don't care about yourself?
Right.
It doesn't make sense to
Exactly.
me. It doesn't make sense. But people don't understand that whole concept. Go back to Umar Johnson again. How many times have you seen Umar Johnson make a video of him being in the inner city talking to gang members, talking to at-risk youth about what's going on in the community? You don't see that. But once something happened from a white point of view, he makes 10 videos. So
True.
what do he really care about? Do he really care about the black youth, the gangs, killing youth? Matter of fact, I seen a story the other day where this kid got killed, baby got killed, that is. No outrage. No one is outraged about that. No one. Black man killed a baby, a black baby. No one cared. That's my whole point of dealing with these people, these race hustlers. They do not care about the black community. And when I see Umar Johnson on the Breakfast Club, I just want to break my TV. So people like Charlemagne God, they are propping this dude up. Every time he go on one of these shows, they're propping him up, knowing that this dude is using the black community at every chance he's getting. To me,
Yeah,
Umar Johnson,
Charlemagne pushes the victim thing too.
Yeah, he does. But Umar Johnson is worse than a KKK member. Be honest with you. He does more harm. Yeah.
The KKK is quiet. They're not. We don't see them much anymore. Like, yeah, they still exist, and you know, and deep in the deep south, they're still doing stupid shit. But for the most part, yeah, people like Umar are worse because they're taking money from his own people, and he's keeping them under wraps. He's keeping them in this position where they can't move, but they keep giving him his money or giving him their money.
No power, no kind of empowerment whatsoever. It's like, dude, you are a so-called, how can I put it? You're so-called educated. You're so-called well-educated. But what do you have to show for that well-educated, for you being well-educated? What are you doing to show people that you are trying to build the black community? You're not doing anything. Nothing but being a bomb. You're nothing but an educated bomb. That's all you are.
Yeah, he's very smart in how to figure out how to manipulate people. I'll give him that.
Right.
He's good at doing that. And then the thing about like the two people we were talking about earlier, both of them are trying to do the same thing, but they failed at it, and they're not as good as he is. So it's like, he's just good at manipulating people, and he's just one of the best. But that's not a good quality to have. Like, just get you a job or build your own stuff. Like, if you're going to talk all this black empowerment, then do it. And I was telling Lurker and them, like, we dropped the ball. Our generation dropped the ball as far as like the black community while we're still struggling. Like, we dropped the ball. We had all kinds of opportunities, but we were too busy in the clubs and creating hip hop and selling drugs and all this kind of dumb shit. And we didn't build anything. We didn't start our own businesses. We didn't clean the neighborhood up. We didn't own the neighborhood. We didn't own businesses in the neighborhood. We didn't do any of that shit. And now with our kids' generation are still complaining about racism, and that was on us. We can't fault this generation and blame anything on them. Like, we didn't do our job the best that we could have. We have to own that. We want to keep talking about accountability. That's us.
I have one more topic I want to bring up to you right quick. What's up, Doug? What's going on, Doug? How do you feel about the 1994 crime bill?
About the crime bill?
1994 crime bill.
I don't even remember it, to be honest. I don't remember what it was about.
Well, basically, it's basically when Joe Biden helped pass that bill in 1994, Bill Clinton. It was at the time where DC, New York, Atlanta, LA, Houston were just under siege with drugs. So what they did was they started funding the states more in order to try to clean up the streets. And that locked a lot of black people up, a lot of drug dealers up. People who was out there that's selling drugs and swallowing out. So in today's society, a lot of people blame Joe Biden for mass incarceration from the 1994 crime bill. And the reason I asked that question, because a lot of black people say it was a racist bill, in which it did have one part that didn't make sense, because they were charging people with crack cocaine more than they were charging people with cocaine. So if you got found with cocaine, you got a lesser sentence than crack cocaine. So, and that was one of the disparaging, I can't say the word, in that bill. But the reason I'm bringing it up, because I feel a lot of people don't understand about that bill, to the point where at the time, a lot of people was losing their lives in the black community, and a lot of people was being destroyed by drugs in the black community. So I don't see anything wrong with the bill.
No,
Because
I
my
don't see
thing is,
anything. The bill isn't
my,
the issue. The issue is you can't have mass incarceration of people that aren't doing what it takes to get incarcerated. So
thank you,
if you're
thank
not
you.
out there selling the drugs, you don't have anything to worry about. So if they're going to say that it was a trap and say what the whole Iran Contra thing about them, the government basically
Drugs in the
placing the
community.
drugs in the neighborhood, if you're going to say that, well, the drugs won't stay in the neighborhood if there's nobody to sell it, nobody to buy it.
There
So
you
if
go.
you don't have a customer, there's no transactions. You can't sell what somebody doesn't want. And the only reason why they were able to make money off of it was because there was people buying it. Just don't buy the drugs. And if you don't buy the drugs, then there's no drug dealer to sell the drugs. But the problem the problem falls on the customers and on the seller. You can't
Right.
sell what nobody wants. So if you eliminate the customer, but the customer has to eliminate themselves. They have to say, no, I don't want that. You have to be smart enough to say, I don't want drugs, especially crack and cocaine. Like you have to be smart enough to say, I don't want it. No, I'm good. So then the drug dealer has nothing to sell. Therefore, he can't go to prison. So the problem solves itself. So it's not the bill. The bill is just a kind of is a reaction to the customer
What was going on?
seller
Right.
issue. Yeah, but if that's not happening, you have nothing to worry about. So this whole idea of mass incarceration of black males in America, if you're not doing anything to be incarcerated, you don't have to worry about that. I'm 55 years old. I've never even been to jail, much less prison. It's not an accident.
Right.
It's not. It's not just something that I just was lucky and it never happened. I just didn't break the rules like that. I wasn't out there killing people. I wasn't selling drugs. I mean, the worst thing I've done was graffiti. You know, I've done street graffiti.
Right.
But it's like if I got caught, I would have to deal with that consequence. And I understood that when I was doing it. But I stopped because my dad raised me. I was raised by both parents. I had my dad in the house. I didn't want to disappoint my dad. So a lot of things I didn't do. I didn't join gangs. I didn't, I didn't get seriously into graffiti. I didn't do a lot of illegal shit because I didn't want to disappoint my father. So a lot of this stuff has to do, it goes back to the lack of fathers in the home doing their job as fathers. So if we have fathers that are there doing their jobs for the most part, I mean, granted, there's still going to be gangsters, there's still going to be thugs, even though they had their fathers. But as long as you have that foundation, if they make that decision to do something later on in their life, you did your job. You were there, you did your job. That child made a choice. They made that choice on their own. But if you weren't even there, then that's why we're in the situation we're in now. You can't be blaming the women. So it's not so much about the bill as it is that we put ourselves in a situation to be
And that's the whole thing.
Interaction with it.
Well, that's the whole thing about the whole situation. Also, it's another way of playing victim. We blame someone else for our issues again. And the reason I brought it up because, like I said, I hear so many people saying mass incarceration is the reason why black people are in the condition they're in today. And when you look at it, because I look at it from a different point of view, I look at the community itself. Think about all the people who died from gunshots, who died from drug overdoses, who families suffered because their parents was addicted to drugs, and we were selling that poison to them as black people. But at the same time, we're sitting here now saying, oh, Joe Biden is the reason why the black community, or well, there were so many black males locked up in America is because of Joe Biden. No, Joe Biden didn't make those guys go out there and kill anyone. Joe Biden didn't make those guys go out there and ruin people's lives by selling them drugs and destroying families. They did that on their own. They reaped the benefit of selling drugs to their own community. So don't get here and tell me, play victim and blame Joe Biden for this nonsense. Because Joe Biden didn't make no one go out there and do what they did. They did it on their own. And they reaped the benefits from it. They were selling drugs, making money, driving around in nice cold cars, doing what they wanted to do. That wasn't Joe Biden. That was them. They just, honestly, I'm going to say this right here. A lot of people might disagree with me. When it comes to cocaine charges and crack cocaine charges, and they got 10 or 15, 20, or 30, 40 years, I don't feel sorry for none of them. And the reason why I don't feel sorry for none of them, because they destroyed lives forever. Forever. People who would never ever get an opportunity to walk these streets again were destroyed by those same people that people feeling sorry for now. And that's why I don't care about a drug dealer, not weed. Now, weed is something different. Anybody who sold
totally
hard drugs, who was putting hard drugs into the community, they can rot and die in jail for all I care. Because there's a lot of people who lost their lives back in the 80s and the 90s that would never ever set foot on this earth again. So I don't know why black people want to feel sorry for those people. They destroyed lives.
Yeah, and like I said, it was a choice on both parties. You know, both parties decided to either use it or to sell it. So, you know, I to be honest, I don't really hold the dealer more responsible than the user, because the user is the one who's choosing to spend their money or even steal to get the money to buy that drug in the first place. And I get that, yeah, it may be addictive, but you knew from the very beginning, coke, crack, all that shit's addictive and it can fuck your life up.
Right.
But you chose to go and buy it. And then you chose to keep coming back. And if you overdosed, that was on you, just like it was on him to sell it to you. And he didn't care that you overdosed, because he was there to get the money, but you didn't care enough about your own life to not poison your body with this drug that killed you. So both parties are at fault, and the customer is more at fault, because the customer created the environment for the dealer to exist in the first place.
Right. Well, I Big Meech was yeah, drug dealers are the real coon. You're right about that, Doug. But Big Meech, son, he said something a couple years ago that really disturbed me. I couldn't understand why people actually thought what he said was a great thing. He said that his father made a lot of careers, put a lot of people on. And he was talking about, you know, in the music industry, and, you know, how they use drug money to put people into the music industry. And I thought about that. And I said, you know what? That was the most insensitive statement a person can make. And the reason why, because the money that he used to put people on, to help people get into the music industry, is the same money that destroyed a lot of families and people died over. Even though you're right, an addict is responsible for their own action. But at the same time, you have to understand, you made that money off of destroying families. No matter who's responsible, that's how you made your money.
Well,
so for you to
mean, to be honest, if that's what if you're gonna do that, then that's what it makes sense to do with that money. Like, if you're gonna make money in some like horrible way where it hurts other people, if you don't use that money later on to do something good, then what was the point? Like, all these drug dealers that sold drugs and then they didn't do anything with the money but buy cars and clothes, like, they didn't try to help anybody with that money. Like, yeah, it's blood money, but if you decide at some point later on down the line, like, I need to do something actually to help people, I get that. Like, trying to redeem yourself and say, well, I'm gonna help people instead of just spending this money frivolously on stupid shit. Like, I kind of, I kind of respect that.
Yeah, but my thing is, do you forget how you got that money though?
You know, I don't think they forgot how they got it.
Because you got to realize, because for every person you helped, you destroyed 10 people. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
It doesn't equal out in the long run. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you might have helped one person, but how many people did you destroy? You know, how many people
lost their... At the same time, like, getting into the music industry, you just put them into a different plantation anyway, because we don't own the music industry. So it's like, yeah, you helped them in a sense, but you just made them somebody else's slave in a way. I mean, Prince told everybody, you know, you're in the record industry, you're a slave. You're a slave to the industry. So you didn't really help them anyway. You just pushed them into another direction where they're being used. Like, they were used they were using the customers that bought their drugs, but now they're putting them in the music industry. Now they're being used. So in a sense, it's kind of karmic. You know, it's kind of them dealing with a karma of their own. Like, yeah, you went from using people, now you're being used. and you being used by people that will kill you if you don't go along with their agenda and if you don't jump through the hoops they want to give you this money. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a karma thing too.
Yeah, I just wish we stopped being victims to our own stupidity. And I wish we would wake up as Black people and understand that as long as you play victim, you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to want to get anywhere because you always got this crutch to fall back on as victimhood, you know.
Right.
But T, man, I enjoyed the conversation. I really did. I appreciate you coming through. Damn, I didn't realize I was going to be up here almost 3 hours.
Yeah, and
I really enjoyed the conversation.
It's good talking with you, man. It's always good talking.
Good conversation, man. I appreciate you coming up, man. And like I said,
No
I'm gonna start doing more of these shows, man, because I really enjoyed this right here. I really did. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, me too, man. All right, man. I'll talk with you later on, man.
All right, man.
All right.
All right, guys. I really didn't realize how long I was gonna be up here. Almost 3 hours. So my mouth getting dry. I got to get some water. I got to go do some things. But I appreciate everybody came through. Thank everybody for coming through. Doug, Meow Meow, Super Toyota, Kanyan, T, Griff came through. Appreciate you, Griff. And some people Brian A. Thank you for coming through also, brother. But I'll be back soon. I'm gonna start doing more shows over here. I really am. I enjoyed the conversation. And like I said, no matter if it's 5 people in the room, 6 people in the room, or 7 people in the room, this is what it's all about. Being able to just conversate and have good intelligent conversations. That's what it's all about. So until next time, man, y'all have a good night, and I'll check y'all later.